1140.
Plain and simple. Here it is. There's the inbounds, and that's the ball game. DeRozan took it. Trey Lyles wasted no time, and the Kings escape with a 129-128 victory to go 2-0 in this series against Dallas. Potential tiebreaker. You never know if that could come into play, but only a 3-game series between these clubs this year, and Sacramento has won the first 2.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team. Sacktown Sports.
DeMar DeRozan, yes, yes, yes. Malik Monk, yes, yes, yes. Jonas Valančiūnas, yes, yes, yes. The Sacramento Kings win a barn burner against the Dallas Mavericks in Dallas. And speaking of burning, it feels like the Dallas Mavericks fans might try to burn it all down. It is a mess out there in Dallas, and the Kings, they had to get this W against a team who actually isn't playing poorly, but with all the drama surrounding them and the players that were missing for them. Not only are you missing, you couldn't find any center of any type of level for the Dallas Mavericks, as some guys were already hurt, then more guys go down. To the Sacramento Kings, they roll out a jumbo lineup like a 2x2 or a 3x3 out here at In-N-Out Burger, and the Sacramento Kings get it done. Daniel Gafford goes down with a knee. We are wishing him the best. They were already missing other guys like Derek Lively and obviously Anthony Davis. So, just not a lot of beef on the court for the Dallas Mavericks. And the Sacramento Kings, who don't normally get to claim and say that they are the bigger team, they were able to be that bigger team last night and take advantage. Klay Thompson tried to ruin it, as he did just a year ago when he was on the Golden State Warriors and the Kings were a completely different team. But the good thing is the Kings have a DeMar DeRozan, and DeMar DeRozan did his thing. And let's not forget Malik Monk and what he did in overtime. This is, look, the Clutch Bros, that whole thing is out. De'Aaron Fox is in San Antonio now. We will hear from Monty McNair at 1 o'clock to listen to what he had to say in regards to making that move and the next steps for the Sacramento Kings. But there is a new version of the Clutch Bros, whatever you want to call it. We can have some fun with those new names with DeMar DeRozan and Malik Monk, because DeMar DeRozan got it going, and Malik Monk, who started out, Malik has these games where he's just ice cold from 3, and he goes 0 for 4 last night. It wasn't pretty early, but in overtime, he just willed that team to victory. And the one thing you can say about this team, from the standpoint of how they're constructed, is it perfect? Absolutely not. But Doug Christie has had these boys playing. And to see the camaraderie on the bench from guys like Jonas Valančiūnas, Jake LaRavia, the newer players on this team. And I know we have some fun with Jay Crowder because he hasn't taken off his sweats in about 4 months. But even having guys like that, who everyone is on one accord, this is not something that the Kings have had. And are we worried about Zach LaVine from 3-point range? I wouldn't say I'm not worried, but at the same time, we still have belief that everybody is on the same page and working towards the same goal. And last night, to me, was a microcosm of who the Kings are probably going to be in this interim era, if you want to call it that. They were fun. They were exciting. They're also frustrating. They'll be able to pull some rabbits out of hats, but most of the time, it's not going to be easy. But even though it wasn't easy, it was still fun to watch, and it's especially fun when you get the W. We will break down all things Sacramento and Dallas throughout the show, and then we turn the page on over to their hangout in New Orleans. What a perfect time to be in New Orleans, you would think, with everyone just now leaving the Super Bowl. It's probably going to be pretty quiet out there so they can focus on these W's and hopefully focus on not letting Zion get to his left hand over and over again like Marshawn Lynch, and maybe deciding to not let CJ McCollum have a career game every single time, because these games, as Carmichael Dave said, he thinks that they'll split. We could think that they're going to split, but they can't really afford to split, or it would be really nice to beat a team that you are better than if you're playing and crossing all your T's and dotting all your I's. So we will get to all that as well. DeMar DeRozan and what he did, that step through a double team, one of the most impressive moves I've seen, and he continues to just show how electric he is as a basketball player. And now that he's gone, let's just say it, DeMar was still the closer. There's levels to this, right? And DeMar, I know we have De'Aaron Fox, who he won the first Clutch Player of the Year, but DeMar DeRozan has been doing this for over a decade. And we've seen what he's done over and over again. So the whole idea of having the two, what do they say? I know they say if you have two quarterbacks, that means you don't have one. How about if you have two closers, that means you don't have one? And it never felt like the Kings were able to utilize the two closer thing, because that's not really something that you do. You have a closer. That's it. And that's DeMar DeRozan. Now, Malik Monk did help close the game out in overtime, don't get me wrong, but this, it's your turn, it's my turn, like you're playing Tea Party in Foursquare, it never really worked, right? So now it's straight up DeMar DeRozan. Look, is this something we're going to be able to count on for the next 5 years? No, but that's why I said last night is a microcosm of who the Kings are right now. They're fun. We'll see what happens the next year or so. And then we go from there. DeMar DeRozan has the most clutch shots made in the entire NBA over the last decade. So you have what he brought to the table doing that. You have a Keon Ellis who got some really, really prime time in those closing minutes instead of one Keegan Murray. Now, we can argue if that should have been Keegan or that should have been Zach LaVine. We can have that conversation, but I need to give some kudos to Doug Christie for trying out different things. They go on that run, and we have all the stats that we'll get to in the numbers. They go on that run when they go to the jumbo package, and Dallas just didn't have the beef. That's it. There was no way for them to combat that. Now, is this something we're going to see very often? Probably not, because in certain situations, these teams out there, all these West Coast teams and Eastern Conference teams as well, they have more flexibility within their roster. But kudos to Doug Christie for hitting on a couple of things. He hit on Keon Ellis because he needed Keon to guard Kyrie. And did Kyrie still go off? Of course. Kyrie, a lot of people regard him as one of the most skilled basketball players of all time. Okay, so Keon, he did the best he could, but Doug had to make a decision. And he decided, well, I'm just going to go with Keon here and give Keegan the extra rest. And it didn't end up biting them. Should that have been Zach LaVine getting the extra rest? Maybe. I don't know. But Doug is trying things. He's putting his neck out there, and this team is continuing to respond. So we will break down everything from last night. We will get to Kyrie Irving replacing Anthony Davis in the All-Star game, not Domantas Sabonis. And we're just trying to figure out, okay, so this isn't everyone saying Adam Silver hates Sacramento. No. He just went down the list, right, based on votes. So the question you now have to ask yourself is, why do coaches hate Domantas Sabonis? What is the hate going on there from those votes and the lack of votes that Domantas Sabonis received? What is going on there? So we will break all that down. Like I said, we finally saw the two big men set. We saw Keon, I wouldn't say over Keegan, but that's the route that they decided to go in. Monty McNair joined the morning show. I know some of you have been listening since 6 a.m. this morning, and we really appreciate all of our hardcore P0 listeners, but a lot of people are running around. A lot of people are doing different things. So we're going to run that at 1 p.m. for everyone who might be picking up their kids or just didn't get a chance, or just sleeping, didn't get a chance to hear Monty McNair on the morning show. That's coming up at 1 p.m. And we ask the question, are you feeling better about the Kings? What are you worried about? Who are you worried about? Are you worried about Zach LaVine's three-point shooting? Are we there yet? Or are you a game away? These 2 games in New Orleans, you can get real comfortable there. That's the one good thing about these road trips. When you are in the same city, you can kind of put up shop and set up shop, right? Even though you're not at home, you're not just one game in a city and then you get to, we went to this place for dinner last night. It was pretty good. We can go again. You can relax a little bit. So it is a business trip, but at least they can have some familiarity out there. So how are you feeling about the Kings? Of course, we're going to do some pocket watching, as it wasn't a great night. To spoil the tease a little bit, not a great night as far as pocket watching is concerned. The Warriors look good. They do. The Warriors look good. The Utah Jazz got spanked by the Lakers. Luka's debut, it was kind of what you'd expect, and it makes you feel better about the Zach LaVine stuff, as I mentioned, because it's going to take all these guys a lot of time. That's why I'm so surprised about Jimmy Butler, because that fit has worked a lot better than I think a lot of people have thought. So the Warriors take care of business. The Lakers take care of business. So not a great night from the help that the Kings needed, but the bottom line is they get the W, and as long as you're winning games, everything else should take care of itself, because they do, to some degree, control their own destiny. On the other side, we rewind the end of the game, how the Kings blew the game, saved the game, blew the game, and ended up coming away with the W. Allen Stiles, 4 hours with you. Sacktown Sports.
All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sacktown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sacktown Sports and sacktownsports.com.
Bombas makes the most comfortable socks, underwear, and T-shirts.
Warning, Bombas are so absurdly comfortable you may throw out all your other clothes.
Sorry, do we legally have to say that?
No, this is just how I talk, and I really love my Bombas.
They do feel that good. And they do good, too. One item purchased equals one item donated.
To feel good and do good, go to bombas.com/radio and use code radio for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/radio and use code radio at checkout.
Jackson Hewitt makes taxes feel like a yacht rock song.
April breeze, give me my biggest tax refund, please. You, me, and a lifetime accuracy guarantee.
And now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be
reeling in the refund.
Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
Join me, Allen Stiles, and the Sacktown Sports team this Saturday, 2 to 4 p.m. at Folsom Buick GMC. Come out, win prizes, and check out amazing President's Day sales.
Sabonis, top of the foul circle. Monk at the right elbow. DeRozan above the three-point arc. The ball now handed to Trey Lyles. 9.8. Kings down 1. We're in overtime. The ball in the hands of Deebo. Drives to the left. 2 defenders there. Up fake. Splits defenders. Step through. Scores the basket. Kings lead it. 129-128. 1.5 seconds to go. Desperation attempt. There are whistles as the shot was launched by Dinwiddie at midcourt.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Great shot by DeMar DeRozan. But real quick, am I the only one that held my breath on that last play? And like I said, Malik Monk really took over in overtime. But, brother, what were you doing stepping in front of Dinwiddie there? Was I the only one worried that a foul was going to get called there? What are you doing?
I would have been worried if the ref hadn't immediately made the inclination of offensive foul. Because
Malik was moving.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But Dinwiddie, leaned into him to try and draw the contact, which I don't know what you do with that end-of-game situation, because these guys nowadays can pull up from 50 feet. Heck, we saw Jokic baseball pass a shot into the basket a couple weeks ago. So, I get these guys can hit these shots now, but you just gotta You just got to let him chuck it, right? That's all you can do.
I mean, you have to defend it in some way. It doesn't matter now because it didn't get called a foul, but I first saw it, and yeah, you can't just let him shoot and not defend it at all. You could lose the game that way. So I guess it all worked out. I just saw Malik moving, and this is typical Sacramento. They're going to get, because didn't that happen? Was that last season where there was a foul called? I don't think it was a close enough game in Boston, even though they did have that situation where Kobe Jones got hit in the head. There was a play. It might have been the end of this. It might have been the beginning of this season or last season where the Kings were in position to win. Someone got fouled, and there were free throws at the end of the game. And I don't even know if a shot got off or not. But anyway, I was just having flashbacks to that, and I was very worried that they were going to call a foul because, we're walking. Everyone's excited. They're on the bench, and then, now here's 3 free throws.
I would have been in your position if, like I said, the ref hadn't immediately signaled offensive foul. So I'm like, at the very least, they're going to call an offensive foul. Like, once they make that call, they can't really go back and reverse it like that. So that made me feel fine, but I was still just like, oh my God, I can't believe DeRozan just hit that shot kind of feeling. Because they went straight for the double team. Their defensive strategy was anyone but DeRozan. Anyone but DeRozan beats us. And he stepped through and still hit it. That was just crazy.
Yeah, Azalea is saying when Fox fouled Jaden Ivey for that 4-point play, that's also that's actually not the one I'm thinking. There were multiple games like that, but that was another one where that was a tie, and it might have been in Phoenix, something like that. Anyway, that's the old world. That's the Old Testament of the Kings. We're in the New Testament now, and the Kings go on to get another W. They've won a couple in a row now, and now they get to head back down to NOLA, get some beignets, and hopefully get some W's as well. And how they ended up winning this game, well, at the end of the game, the refs were blowing the whistle like their name was too short. Very, very much. Valančiūnas commits 3 fouls in 83 seconds, including 2 and 1s on Dinwiddie and Max to give Mavericks a 112-110 lead. Keegan Murray checks in for Jonas, fouls Christie on first possession. Offensive foul called on Dinwiddie with 1:30 to go. Sabonis, and that's the stuff that we don't ever talk about. This is the second or third time now, Sabonis has had one of those tip-ins to save the Kings. So that ties it up. Monk gets clamped up by Kyrie. Kyrie then gets a bucket. DeRozan ties the game with that fadeaway for 38 points with 3.8 seconds left. And in overtime, it was a really ugly start, but then Malik heated up a little bit. And again, he just willed his way. His shot wasn't falling, but he just willed his way to scoring and to a victory. He went crazy in overtime. 8 of the Kings' 9 points, including an offensive rebound off Sabonis, his free throw. Now that one was insane. DeRozan, no foul call on the shot that goes through the basket. Klay Thompson hits the go-ahead three-pointer, and that one just gave me flashbacks to Klay when he did that last season with the Warriors against the Kings. That was the last bucket I think he made against the Kings as a Warrior.
Oh, that would have been a tough day for me if we had to come back.
You're already getting fried on the text line.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
We just started. How are people already upset about
it? To me, we'll get to it. It was just a numbers game. So Klay was just due. And there's nobody else to shoot. I mean, Max Christie shot the ball pretty darn well, but you just knew Klay was going to get him up. So that's why I thought that he was definitely going to have a decent game. And those rotations from the Mavericks, a bit random. I think, Jason Kidd just looking for answers. Dante Exum just didn't really even play in the second half. And
my God, they started Kessler Edwards.
Yeah, Kessler Edwards getting in there, but then I can't remember if he closed or not.
No, he was not.
So that lineup, they're just searching. So I know, look, you got Kyrie. I like Max Christie. He's a young stud. You got Klay Thompson, but that game had to be won. I'm sorry. That game had to be won, especially when Daniel Gafford goes down. And Daniel Gafford is no offensive savant, but when Daniel Gafford goes down, it was already a must-win to me, even though I don't like to use that term must-win. It was already a must-win to me. Once Gafford went down, there was no excuse. Zero. And that's not me trying to be a hardo. That's That's just the numbers of the game right now.
You're facing a lineup of Kyrie Irving, Max Christie, Spencer Dinwiddie, Max Prosper.
Yeah,
and
you have to win that game.
Yeah, and I get that sentiment, especially because if they had lost the game, it would have felt like they let it slip away. And I know the Mavericks were up 10 in the fourth quarter and the Kings had to come back.
And that would have been bad. That would have been a bad loss to me.
It would have, for sure. There's no question about it. Between Kyrie, go back to regulation also. It's a tie game. Malik Monk has the ball one-on-one with Kyrie, and Kyrie not only guards him, but then gets the steal afterwards.
Yeah.
And then Kyrie goes down and hits the bucket. For them to then get to overtime after that, have the lead where DeRozan didn't even have to shoot that ball. For them to be up 4 with 28 seconds left and to be down with 8 seconds left would have absolutely felt like they let that game slip away. So even beyond the injury point of it, it's like the Kings were winning most of the game down the stretch. So I understand feeling like, yeah, it would have been a disappointment if they had lost.
DeMar DeRozan, that crazy step through and the game-winning shot with 1.6 seconds to play. And at that point in time, you're just thinking, again, most clutch shots in NBA history. This is what this guy does. And the issue in Chicago wasn't that DeMar DeRozan wasn't doing this. It was that he was doing this and they weren't getting W's. So the Kings have to continue to win games. Like I said, not a great night as far as pocket watching is concerned with some of the teams all around the Kings also winning. But we'll see who plays tonight and we will break down and at least the Timberwolves lost. The Timberwolves got smacked by the Cavaliers. So that actually is a really big one. But the Lakers, who I'm not really going to spend too much time on the Lakers now, but the Warriors still kind of hanging around with that W. The Spurs getting a W as well to a lesser degree. So, and remember what I said real quick. Sorry, I'm going Carmichael Dave, a bit of a tangent. The joke that I've had that the Timberwolves only play difficult teams. So last night, I just happened to look at some of the other action. The Timberwolves, they lose to the Cavaliers last night by 21 points, 128. Yeah. Listen to who they have next. I don't know what they did, and I'm not feeling bad for the Timberwolves, but this is just insane. Tomorrow, the Timberwolves host the Bucks. On Thursday, they host the Thunder. Then they head to Houston.
Oh, that's an easy game right now.
Well, They are free falling a little bit, but then they go to Houston. I'm actually continuing to scroll, and this is good news for Kings fans. Then they go to Houston, okay? So they get Bucks, Thunder, Houston. They get the Thunder again. Damn. They get the Thunder again. They play the Thunder February 13th, February 23rd, February 24th, a back-to-back. Then they go to L.A. to take on the Lakers.
Oh, that's the one you don't want to play right now.
So there are opportunities, and I'm assuming, I'm not going to keep going, but I'm assuming it lightens up, I think, for the Timberwolves. But the Timberwolves that are sitting in that 7 spot, that's what we've said. Look, the 6 seed, it is what it is. If the Kings can get hot enough, great. But you put yourself in a win and you're in situation. The Timberwolves have some really, really tough games coming up. So if the Kings can continue to do what they did last night, there's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity. All right, let's continue the conversation. DeMar DeRozan's magical performance in Dallas. What does this mean? How comfortable do you feel with DeMar DeRozan as your number one option right now on the Sacramento Kings, if he is the number one option? And we have some fun at the expense of Mavs ownership, because you know what? A lot of people like to talk trash about the Sacramento Kings and some of the things that they may do and not do that people have some issues with. But you got to say, the Mavs are handling this Luka thing about as horribly as you could. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Malik Monk is Sacktown Sports.
Oh my, what an athletic move, that time by Malik Monk.
Hey Sacramento, it's Malik Monk, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Drapes, Kyle Draper from Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. I've had my all-electric SUV for a little more than a year, and I continue to love it day after day. In fact, me and my daughter, we were just on vacation not too long ago, and we rented a car while we were on the trip, and my daughter said, Dad, I like your car better. I turned to her and said, honey, you know what? I like it better as well, and I couldn't wait to get back home to my Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV. You know, at Mercedes-Benz of Stockton, they are more than just a dealership. They're a partner you can trust throughout the entire ownership of your luxury vehicle. Whether it's a refined C-Class or versatile SUV lineup, your perfect Mercedes-Benz is there waiting for you. Plus, right now, you can enjoy 3.24% APR for up to 72 months on certified pre-owned models on approved credit. Mercedes-Benz of Stockton is your trusted partner in luxury and reliability, and they've been doing it for more than 30 years. So head on down right now to Mercedes-Benz of Stockton or online anytime at mbofstockton.com. That's mbofstockton.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery. Ends President's Day. Exclusively the Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Power Business Technology is proud to be a 100% independent, locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer since 2021. Contact us today for all your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Got a drain that's clogged up? Or maybe a toilet? Or a faucet that just won't quit leaking? Kenny and Jerry here from Bell Brothers, and we want you to know that it does make a difference which plumber you call.
At Bell Brothers, we respect your time by showing up when we say we'll be there. Our technicians are all background checked and drug tested, and will greet you with a smile.
They're trained to do the job right the first time, and they carry over 1,000 parts on their trucks, so they won't have to order something and then come back later.
They leave the work area cleaner than they found it, and your final bill will be the same as they quoted. That's why they call us the No Surprise Guys.
So if you need a plumber, it does make a difference who you call. Call Bell Brothers. Our number is 916-444-1234, or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com. That's 916-444-1234, or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
It was 1879 when the first President's Day was established, and it's been a holiday ever since. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. I'm guessing when the Keys family opened the first Naturewood Home Furnishing store in 1948, a President's Day sale was not top of the mind. But the family probably celebrated the holiday with a picnic and a big slice of cherry pie. The store name Naturewood was selected to reflect the quality of the wood furniture for sale, and that focus on quality continues today with brands like FlexSteel, Trailway, Stickley, Fusion Designs, Stanton, and many, many more. The Naturewood Home Furnishings President's Day sale is the perfect time for you to find the right accent piece for your living room, a new bed for your bedroom, or to completely refurnish your entire home. See all the fine furniture and accessories on sale with Naturewood's President's Day sale. Find that perfect piece of furniture that's new today and filled with memories for tomorrow. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Finds Sabonis, hands it right back to Monk, hands it to DeRozan. It may be Deebo's. He drives it. He digs. He launches. He scores with 3.5 seconds to go. Baseline left. DeRozan now has 38 points. The Kings have tied it, but it's not over. 116. Jason Kidd quickly calling timeout.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
This is a little bit of a throwback. I wish that Christopher Ladd was still behind the glass. By the way, Kyle Ledbetter behind the glass for us, doing a great job. I wish that Christopher Ladd was still back there, because I'm about to go a little bit throwback millennial here. I don't know if anybody remembers that show on VH1 called it was Best Week Ever. I think they might have done Best Day Ever, but I do recall, I think they would do Best Week Ever, and they would highlight a celebrity or an athlete that's having a really good week. Then they would also do, I think, Best Year Ever. And this has got to be the worst month ever for Mavs fans, because it's a complete nightmare out there. And, the reason I'm bringing this up is simply because, look, the Kings, they take a lot of crap pretty often. And some of it is self-inflicted, but some of it isn't. And the way that they get viewed throughout the league, the fact that Domantas Sabonis still can't get in. And these are votes among his peers, in a way, coaches. And this is not a fan. This is not Adam Silver. Adam Silver said, I simply go down the list. So for Domantas Sabonis to still not get into the All-Star, for De'Aaron Fox to leave the Sacramento Kings and go on to, in a game yesterday, shoot 15 of 18 from the free throw line. 18 free throws. Okay? So for all the tinfoil hatters out there that, the Sacramento and the NBA hates Sacramento, look, I didn't watch the game. I would assume that De'Aaron Fox was definitely engaged, but I don't know if De'Aaron Fox has ever shot 18 free throws in his career with the Sacramento Kings. And I'd be pretty willing to bet that he hasn't. So with all that being said, the Mavericks, and they are to some degree, the Mavericks and how they're handling this Luka Doncic trade is horrible. It's horrible. So last night there's a karaoke, they do a karaoke event, right, or a little skit. And during the skit, one of the fans mouthed the words, "Fire Nico," to Nico Harrison, their GM. Fire Nico. They kicked that brother out of the game. They kicked him out of the game. He paid his money. And they kicked him out of the game. All right? Just for mouthing it. I'm watching it right now. They kick him out of the game. Jason Kidd, which I think he's going to get fined. Jason Kidd does not do media availability after the game last night. Okay? There's no update on, I believe I was reading from kind of Mavs media, no update on Anthony Davis and that injury, all right? And they're just not being accountable. Then you have a soul-crushing loss last night against the Sacramento Kings of all teams. So just a really, really rough go for Mavs fans. And as far as the Mavs, and I know, Mark, there's probably 50% of people out there that still think that Mark Cuban is closely associated with the team. And that has not, what was it, last year where he sold majority of his piece of it, but they have a different view about them. They have the championship with Dirk when Dirk took over and LeBron got posted up by JJ Barea. We remember all that, but that doesn't mean they're above doing things the wrong way, and they have done this whole Luka thing the absolute wrong way. If you're going to make a move, stand on it, okay? The fans, they deserve that. And then after that, for Anthony Davis to go down, Derek Lively is out, and Daniel Gafford, it looked bad. It looked like a non-contact knee injury. So I don't have any problem with Mavs fans, but life comes at you fast. And the same way that people want to bag on Sacramento, where is that energy for Dallas and how they have mishandled this whole Luka situation? I just had to say that. 916-339-1140. Let's open up the phone lines. 916 is saying that was an Instagram win last night. We have major problems. We should beat that Mavs lineup by 20. I don't know about 20, but I will say, and yes, 916, I trust me, I coined that Instagram, the Instagram lineup deal, and thank you for listening to the show. I'm stuck because a win is a win, and nothing is going to come easy. Kyrie is Kyrie, But yeah, when you have, and now you don't have Devin Carter, right? So offensively, the reason the Zach LaVine thing still worries me is because they're not able to get stops. So you're supposed to shoot teams out of the gym. And if you're not doing that and you can't really play defense, that is going to be a problem when you're going up against guys not named Max Christie and dudes besides Klay Thompson and Kyrie. And really, Klay's just there to shoot. He doesn't really give you much besides shooting.
Klay Thompson's in a very weird point of his career right now where he's technically still the second best player on the team, but also can only shoot, and sometimes they hide him on defense.
But that's the same thing as when I'll never forget, and we're about to get to Matt here, open up the phone lines. Saying that Klay is the second best player on that team is like when Juan Toscano-Anderson was second place in that slam dunk contest a couple years ago. He is a runner-up in the slam dunk competition in one of the worst contests we've ever seen.
Yeah, and normally if they had either a healthy Luka Doncic or a healthy Anthony Davis, that wouldn't be a problem because then Klay could just be a spot-up shooter. But now all of a sudden they need Klay Thompson to be Klay Thompson again because they literally have no one else. I looked it up also. They only have a rookie backup center named something Kelly.
And I think he got in last night?
I think he got in for a half a minute, but they just had nothing going.
Kyler Kelly. And I think part of it also is they went to the finals last year, so they're at the same time they're simultaneously experiencing that thing that happens to teams that play 120 games the season before, which is right about now everyone starts to get fatigued and injured, but also they just traded away their 25-year-old superstar and people are literally chanting fire Nico Harrison while their team is shooting free throws, while they are at the free throw line. Yeah, it's a mess.
And then we can't play the video, but Dave was showing it to us of the fans who got ejected for yelling at Mark Cuban, posting on IG Live afterwards, and it's crazy. Just everyone is losing their mind in Dallas right now, and I can't believe the Kings were in the middle of all of that yesterday.
916-339-1140. Let's get to Matt. Wants to be a part of the conversation. What's up, Matt? What you got for us?
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Good. How you doing, man?
Yeah, man. I was just glad I didn't have a heart attack last night. That game was fun to watch, and man, DeRozan, this guy's amazing. I just wish that he had a little more help because when they were coming on that double, when he kicked it out to the wide open Keegan or wide open, no one's hitting their threes, wide open. So that's kind of crazy to watch. And I love seeing Jonas and Sabonis. I hope Christie brings those guys in every fourth quarter because I think it was Katie was saying last night when watching the game. Sabonis is always out there anyways on the pick and roll. He steps out there to help guard those threes, and then at least Jonas is down there to help when they get around them.
Right. Yeah, it's a good call, Matt. Great stuff. We need to get up a nickname for when they have Sabonis, and I know they're both Lithuanian, but the Lithuanian sensation. No, that can't be right. We need to come up with where's the beef, the double-double. Help us out with the name here for Sabonis and Jonas Valančiūnas when they go to that jumbo package. What is the name we should have for those two guys when they're both playing? To Matt's point, and we're going to do some scorebook watching or box score watching on the other side. 34% from three, which isn't great, but it's not terrible, right? You look at Trey Lyles, 1 for 2, Keon Ellis, 2 for 4. DeMar DeRozan, that's DeMar DeRozan saves you at 4 for 6. But besides that, Keegan Murray, 1 for 4. We got some things to say about Keegan Murray and how you feel about his growth and why I'm just a bit confused with Keegan Murray and what to do with him. Zach LaVine, his 1 for 6, and Malik Monk, those three right there. When Keegan goes, and this is the other way to look at it. When Keegan goes 1 for 4, Zach LaVine goes 1 for 6, and Malik Monk goes 0 for 4. That is how you almost lose to a a struggling Dallas Mavericks team. But hey, this isn't horseshoes, and they got the W. We have Christie's Cuts on the other side. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No, we tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes, our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first, because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one? We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. It's just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system? And you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Serious accident. You deserve the law offices of Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237. Jeremy lost his mother in a car accident and knows firsthand the pain caused by tragedy. That is why he became an attorney to fight for others who are going through a tragedy. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237.
You know, when it's all on the line, you need a big-time closer, and that's especially true when it comes to your garage door. And that's why I recommend National Garage Door, 638-4554. Whitey Gleason here for National Garage Door. Whether you're looking to repair an existing door or get a brand new one installed, you need National Garage Door. Family-owned and operated. They've been around since 1974 because service is their #1 priority. National Garage Door are the region's BSE, it's broken spring experts. Styles, prices, and quality of the new doors will amaze you. Our garage door was starting to sound kind of, and that's not good. So Kevin from National Garage Door came out. He said patching up the old one was an option, but we're getting a new garage door. We're pretty happy about that. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer branded garage doors. They offer sales, service, and installation on all residential and commercial doors and operators. If you have garage door needs, old ones coming apart, or you're looking to improve your curb appeal, let National Garage Door come through for you in the clutch and be your closer. 638-4554, National Garage Door.
At Stockton Honda, we know how to honor a great deal. Like right now, during our President's Day sales event, you can find star-spangled savings on some of our best models. Why not stop in today and see for yourself? Save thousands with low APR financing and great lease rates on over 500 new Hondas at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
We got to do better than the Twin Towers. I feel like that's just the go-to, right? Trying to think of some names for when the beef comes in, when it's Jonas Valančiūnas and Domantas Sabonis.
I still think the morning show has the best one.
What is that?
We have the meat.
I'm in.
We have the meat.
So what but that's not what it's going to be called.
No, that's what happens when they're both in the game at the same time.
Yeah.
We have the meat.
Lithuania. It's from director Lithuania. I don't mind that.
Oh, the WWE is going to trademark that for whenever they go down there.
Lithuania.
We have the meat.
The Lithuanian Lambo brothers. Okay.
What?
Uh-huh. Let's see here. The Painful Pair. This is all from the same 916.
These are just wrestling names. These are all just wrestler names.
The Twin Terminator. That sounds like the guy that Peter Parker lost to in Spider-Man 1. One of them. The Terrifying Twin Towers.
Yeah, these are all just wrestling characters.
The Lithuanian Lightning. 916, the Beef Brothers.
We have the meat.
I think I like the Beef Brothers. I like the Beef Brothers.
That could be interpreted in a lot of different ways.
I'm not going there, brother.
We have the meat.
I like the Beef Brothers. 916-339-1140. Beef Brothers is a leader in the clubhouse right now.
I inspire the audience, and I love the creativity. I love, this is all a jam session. This is like a comedy jam session. I just inspire the audience. Let's come up with something that doesn't sound like a wrestling tag team from 2006.
916 from Jeff, the Sejonis lineup.
That just, no.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. All right. While we're thinking of new names, let's get to Christie's Cuts.
There's a lot here, you guys. Their sacrifice. Guys sacrificed minutes. They stayed locked in. The bench was tremendous with their production and their support. The coaches did a fantastic job working on Kyrie. Malik Monk, incredible offensive rebound and putback. But the one thing that we can't have is 21 turnovers for 36 points. Never, ever is that going to be doable. We just can't do it. I went to the big boys, and they came up huge for us and got us back in the game. Won the rebounding margin 50-33. Just a lot of good things as we still continue to try to find our flow. You know, when you see his demeanor, it's how he plays. He's calm, he's relaxed, he's under control. He doesn't get too high, he doesn't get too low. He just stays in the pocket and he's consistent. I don't worry about him. He's going to have good games. He's going to have mediocre games. But the one thing that he always does is he's going to bring it anytime. And he sacrifices for his teammates. The other night I took him out, said, give me a minute. Malik goes in, put him back in, he hits the bucket. And I think his teammates, they trust him at a really high level. So it's an honor to coach him and a real pleasure to have him. I've thought about it. I talked to Jay about it. Talked to Dip about it, and LB. And I just, in that moment, things weren't where we wanted them to be. And they were up 10 or 12 and hurting us on the backboard a little bit. And more than anything, we were turning the ball over, trying to force the ball inside. So I had thought about different packages, what I want to run when they get in the game. And it might have caught some of us off guard because, obviously it's the first time that we did it. But when I told the coaches, I said, I'm going to go big. And I thought those guys were great. They've worked together for practically their whole life, so they know each other's game. Looked at some high-low. You help go to the weak side. Like, some really good things came out of it, and they're huge. They're going to battle on the backboard, and that's really what we needed, is to limit possessions to one attempt per possession. Yeah, it was. I got to the point where I said, okay, this is something that I've thought about, and I think that this is probably the opportunity. Let's see how we work and give it a shot. And what I didn't want to do is attempt it, and they made a couple buckets, and think, woe is me, and get out of it. I want to give it the proper opportunity, and to their credit, all of the guys who were on the floor, but especially those two, they worked extremely hard, communicated at a high level, and they went in and did their job.
Great stuff there from Christie's Cuts, Coach Doug Christie, who has now surpassed Mike Brown as far as W's are concerned for this season. Doug Christie with 14, Mike Brown got to 13, and then they got him up out of here. And a lot of the things that Doug Christie was talking about, he brings up a lot of good points as far as the turnovers are concerned. Look, this is something that we know to be an issue right now with this basketball team. It's the point guard play, and Malik Monk is going to be a different experience than De'Aaron Fox. We get all that in a good way, and in some ways that are going to be different, right? This was from Brendan Nunes before the game was over. At this point, they had 16 going into the fourth quarter, and then they obviously had the overtime as well. At Minnesota, they had 12 turnovers. Against Orlando, they had 19. Against Portland, they had 11. And against the Pelicans, they had 18. Zach LaVine, as he's handling the ball more, he had 5 turnovers last night. So that's rough. Malik Monk had 4. Again, it's the Malik Monk experience. You had 3 turnovers from Sabonis, 1 turnover from DeMar DeRozan, and you had 4 turnovers from Jonas Valančiūnas, 2 from Keon Ellis. I mean, the only person who didn't turn the ball over is Keegan Murray, and that's because he don't dribble. And he doesn't really handle the ball like that. So everybody, and Trey Lyles, those were the only 2 guys that played and didn't have turnovers. So that's a problem for the Kings, and trying to figure out who is going to be that secondary ball handler. Right now it's Keon Ellis, but the playmaking, it's still an issue. It's still an issue. And again, so you combine that with 34% from 3 and 0 for 4 from Malik and 1 for 6 from LaVine and 1 for 4 from Keegan. That's how you lose. That's how you almost lose to a team missing a ton of their players. And look, you get out of there with the W, but you have to shore this stuff up if you want to get over the hump here. Got some more names to go through before we get to the other side. And Kyle, you had a caller during Christie's Cuts.
Oh yeah, our buddy Mike. He started off talking about Big Macs, Whoppers, but he went with Baconators, and that is my personal favorite in the clubhouse so far.
Baconators?
The Baconators. But also I'm seeing a new one that's up there that the chat is liking, which one person said on the text line, a couple in the chat, if you combine their names, it makes Dojo, because it's Domantas and Jonas. So they're saying Dojo or House of Dojo.
Okay.
I'd like that's what I like. We're being creative here.
Okay, the Dojos. All right. We have
Dojos, Baconators, and what was the one you liked?
The Beef Brothers.
Beef Brothers. Those are our 3 in the clubhouse right now.
We have the Jonas Brothers. Kyle, please hit me with it, please. No. The other one.
I know. I'm a dad joke guy, but yeah.
The Jonas Brothers.
You didn't say it right. It's the Jonas Brothers.
Oh, okay.
You got to say it like his name. Jonas Brothers.
916 is Beast Mode. 916, the Lithuanian batteries.
We have the meats.
Yeah, these are a D batteries.
The what?
Like a D battery.
Yeah, but I don't. Is that just because Domas?
No, but they're big. Those batteries are big. C's and D's. 660. Where's the 660? Lithuanian meats.
We have the meat.
Too much meats going on. 916.
We have the meat.
916, the meat lovers lineup.
We have the meat.
916, the Bruise Brothers.
Again, that's a wrestling name. We need something we're good on the wrestling names, like 2004
but just the Bash
wrestling
Brothers from Mighty Ducks. 916, call them. Now I sound like Mark Jones. Call them USDA because they're bringing the beef.
I'll give them points for creativity.
The Lithuanian checkpoint. Block that number. I'm kidding. That's bad, though. The UPS Chris, the go big or go home lineup.
I would like to go home with that one, UPS Chris.
Slippin' Steve, 12 feet of beef. All right, man.
We have the meat.
All right, man. On the other side.
We have the meat.
On the other side, look, we've been very optimistic here, so now it's time to look at the other side of it all. At what point is it fair to worry about Zach LaVine? Are you there yet? Am I there yet? Is Kyle there yet? 916-339-1140. Let's open up the phone lines. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Hey, this is Greg Papa. Are you working through a major insurance claim? SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to, not what just some adjuster working for an insurance company thinks you should get. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
Okay, guys, who is done with their Valentine's Day shopping? What are you waiting for? Stop putting off your Valentine's Day shopping and go to Prestigio Jewelers today.
She's right. Prestigio Jewelers has everything you need for Valentine's this year. And you're approved guaranteed. No credit, bad credit, even bankruptcy? 6 months proof of income guarantees you a credit line of $400 to $10,000. Time is running out. Make this a Valentine's Day she'll never forget. Visit one of our showrooms today or online at prestigiojewelers.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for my good friends over at Jiffy Lube, and they want to show some customer love this month with their February oil change deals you can find online today. Visit jiffylube.com and find a service center near you to see these sweetheart deals. Get it? During the month of February. Here's what you do. Drive into savings at jiffylube.com today and let yourself save in the month of February. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Listen for the Toyota Tahoe Report every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with Johnny Mosley to get the latest weather conditions in Tahoe throughout this snow season. Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140.
Now trying to break the tie. Steely-eyed against the rim. There are the three quick dribbles. The flex and the flip. He misses it, but it's grabbed by Monk. Monk now drives back into the paint. He plants. He reaches. He scores. Malik Monk with a rebound off the missed free throw. Got into the paint and converts. Kings lead 125-123.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
The one area where I don't agree with Brendan and what he had to say was, he started out that post yesterday on X saying Kings turnovers by game since trading their only real point guard. I would disagree with Brendan there because they do have a point guard in Malik Monk. He's just going to do it differently than De'Aaron Fox. And I don't want to do this thing where we're going to, now that De'Aaron Fox is gone, can we live in a world, and I'll say this to Brendan when he comes in for Roundtable on Thursday, can we live in a world where we understand that you're missing another ball handler and the Kings have to find a way to overcome that? But I'm not going to turn De'Aaron Fox into Jason Kidd now that he's not on the Kings anymore. I'm not doing that.
Well, I think both can be true there, right? I think Malik Monk is a shooting guard by trade, right? I think his entire career he's been playing two guard. And this is the first time, other than in small spurts, this is the first time he's ever been a true point guard position, which is tough, even though he can play it. I mean, in Charlotte, he always had either Kemba Walker or Terry Rozier. When he got to the Lakers, it was Russell Westbrook in the LeBron season, so they always had primary ball handlers. And then obviously in Sacramento with De'Aaron Fox. So he's been playing two guard his entire career. This is the first time that he's been in a position to be a true point guard for a team that's actually trying to compete, not like Charlotte after the season was already toast.
Yeah. I think he can get it done. I think you just need someone else, and that's what I said yesterday. I think you do need a change of pace point guard who is not there to score, a Trey Jones type, somebody like that who is just there to pass the rock. All right, some more names to get to, and then we'll have this Zach LaVine discussion. The lane of pain. Vivek's Vipers, what?
Larry called in and he wanted to submit XL Beam Team or Beam Team XL.
The Big Waynes, come on, man. The Truck and Trailer Express.
I do give people credit, though. They're not doing just 2003 wrestling names anymore.
Yeah, the Smash Bros. That's from the 916. The Crash
Bros. The meat.
The Crash Bros. All right, keep them coming. Keep them coming.
It seems like the chat does really like the Dojo or Doho one.
Yeah, I don't mind that one. It's on the list.
It's on the list. We might have to swap Baconator here for what is it, USDA, because they be blocking the beef or whatever it was. That one was USDA because they're bringing the beef.
916-339-1140 as we get to this concern level for the Kings with Zach LaVine. 916 on the text line says there is minor concern over LaVine. Is it because he's still trying to find his way and try to be a good teammate by passing the ball, which leads to overpassing, shooting down because he's not comfortable yet? But the concerns from watching would be 3-point percentage, and sometimes he has weak hands when attacking the basket. That's from the 916. Yeah, my concern level, if it's a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, I would say my concern level, I don't want to say 7, but 6 feels too low. So I think it's about a 6.5, simply for time, right? If you're going to sit here and say, hey, he's probably going to feel more comfortable and be able to shoot the 3 ball next season when he comes back, then yeah, then that concern level is a 3 or a 4. But if we're talking about the fact that the Kings, half of this move was done to still stay competitive now, and he didn't have a bad game last night, but he goes 8 of 18 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3-point range. He did get to 17 points, didn't shoot a free throw. They just refused to give anybody a free throw last night for majority of the game. He was a +6 on the night. He had the 5 turnovers, but he did have 4 assists. He had a steal. So he's not playing poorly. But in terms of, and look, that's a very similar stat line to what you could have got from De'Aaron Fox, to be completely honest with you. So you win the game. DeMar DeRozan takes over, and I'm not that worried. That's why I'm at about a 6.5. But if we're talking about this guy being an impact player for the rest of this season, that's why I'm getting closer to a 7, because we could sit there and say, well, Allen, it's only been X amount of games, but they don't have that many left, right? So every game, where I'm at right now is every game I'm hoping it's the game where we can stop talking about it. Where I'm at is, okay, is this a game where he goes off for 30 and is 4 for 5 from 3? That's what I'm going into every game hoping.
So on the Allen Stiles scale, that's somewhere between a 6.5 and a 7.
Right.
Can I please not talk about this tomorrow?
Can we please put this to bed before it becomes a thing?
Okay, so here's the thing that I feel like is always the case with Zach LaVine. It's just you're having a conversation about him, the player, and they're winning the games, and he's their number 2 or number 3 scoring option, and him and Domas have had a really good rapport. I think there was one play where LaVine gets a shot blocked, and Sabonis gets a rebound and shuffles it to LaVine, and they end up with a layup that looked really good. All of that can be true, and because he makes the contract that he makes,
right,
it always comes back to, well, now you have to do more because you're the most expensive player on the team. And this is the same thing he ran into in Chicago after he signed the long contract, and then Chicago fired the general manager, I think 1 year after giving LaVine that contract. That was the problem in Chicago. It seems like it's building to being the problem in Sacramento. And like we talked about last week, the only way Sacramento salvages the De'Aaron Fox trade is depending on how close to De'Aaron Fox's production they get out of Zach LaVine. And that's a lot of pressure going into the situation because it makes it feel like the entire blueprint of whatever you called it, the beam team in what did you call it? The interim beam team is hinging on Zach LaVine's production. And how do you facilitate that with DeMar DeRozan and Malik Monk, who are, as the stats will back up, playing quite well without De'Aaron Fox here?
So in the 4 games, he went 0 for 4 that first game when they got beat down by the Magic. Then he goes 3 for 9 against Portland, another loss, but he did have 22 points. Not very efficient at all, but he does get the 22 points against New Orleans. 1 for 7 again from 3-point land, but he did get to 22 points. He was 7 for 14 from the field. He just missed pretty much every 3 besides 1. And then last night, 1 for 6 from 3, 17 points. So his numbers aren't terrible. It's just not efficient, and he's putting them up. So you have that going on. He had 5 assists against the Pelicans. Every game, he had 5 turnovers last night. He had 3 turnovers in New Orleans, didn't have a turnover against the Blazers, and had 1 against the Magic, where he really didn't handle the ball that much. So, again, I'm at a 6.5. I'm not at a 7 yet. But, you got, like I said, you're going to be in New Orleans for a couple games. You get that camaraderie going. It's a team you're somewhat comfortable against. You just played the New Orleans Pelicans. Their season is cooked. They're not really playing for anything anyway. Go out there and figure out a way to get this thing rolling, get it on one accord, and get Zach LaVine comfortable. Hopefully that's not at the expense of anything else, because, again, it goes to whack-a-mole. All right, now we're going to focus on getting Zach LaVine, and he's getting his shot, so it's getting him going means there are times where he just seems to stand in the corner a little bit when Malik is kind of doing his thing, but when he gets the ball, he can do whatever he wants. But then it gets to a point where, all right, we're going to make sure we get Zach LaVine going, and now Malik doesn't get going, or DeMar DeRozan or Keegan Murray, who we're going to talk about. So I don't necessarily know how this is going to affect the team. What I do know is, when you're paying someone $50 million, again, number one, you're going to want some type of production. And number two, if you're not going to have production, it's kind of hard to sit him because of what you're paying him. I mean, there may have been some personal reasons why I noticed this, and we don't need to get into all that. But Zach LaVine, I believe that second half, he was stuck at whatever point total he was in the, I believe it might have been the fourth quarter and overtime. He was stuck at, I think, 2 points going into the rest of and that's how the game ended. You know what I mean? He really cooled off. Now, you have obviously Malik Monk doing his thing in overtime and DeMar DeRozan doing his thing in the fourth quarter. So I'm not going to complain, but I'm also not really trying to lean on 35-year-old DeMar DeRozan as much as they're currently leaning on him. That's the other issue.
Yeah, it looks like, just going back through the second half totals, LaVine had 5 points, 2 of 7 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. Was only a -2 in the plus-minus, but I think to your point, I also think last night was also a bad test because DeRozan was having literally the greatest first half of his entire NBA career. I had this stat last night for the broadcast was DeMar DeRozan went 8 for 9 from the field in the first half and had 17 points. Or I'm sorry, had 21 points. It's the first time in DeMar DeRozan's career that he's shot that good in a first half, shooting 7 or more attempts. 8 of 9 from the field was a new career high for DeMar DeRozan. So maybe last night's a bad gauge for that because of just how DeRozan was on an absolute heater. But obviously, this is now a 3-game sample size that we're trying to build out with Zach LaVine playing for the Kings.
Well, 4 now.
Yeah.
4 now. And again, you win the game. I'm not going to sit here and harp on it too much, but at the end of the day, we're still trying to figure out how this whole thing fits. The way I'm kind of looking at this team right now, as I always, I talk about dating, I talk about food. The way I look at this, team is the same way people will look at certain dishes on these competitions, whether it's Hell's Kitchen or Chopped. There are a lot of good ingredients and a lot of good things on the plate. Is it a cohesive dish? Right now, no. It's not a cohesive dish right now. Will it become one? Is there something? Is Zach LaVine going to pull it together? Is Keegan Murray going to pull it together? I thought we could have seen more from Jake LaRavia, to be honest with you. I would like to see more of that. So is there going to be something that's going to pull this dish together? Sometimes it's just a splash of lime or a little bit more salt, whatever it is. Right now it feels like they have some really good ingredients and they've done some really good things on the dish, in the dish, but it's not cohesive right now.
I think you just made a really great concerted point, and I also did not hear the last 15 seconds as soon as I read David on the text line said Domantas Prime.
Oh, my goodness.
As a nickname.
We'll take that. We'll take that. Keep them coming in. Yeah, keep them coming in, only if they're good, though. On the other side, as we move from our worry with Zach LaVine, I wouldn't say I'm worried about Keegan Murray. I would simply say that I'm confused. Please help me with my confusion on Keegan Murray on the other side. 916-339-1140. Allen Stiles, we'll be right back.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Coach Doug Christie here for your truck headquarters, Folsom Lake Ford. Shop all your favorite models on sale now, like America's best-selling F-Series. Check out a huge selection of Mavericks, F-150s, and Super Duty trucks, or tech-filled SUVs like Explorers and Expeditions, plus a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. All in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Right now, buy any new Ford with zero down on approval of credit. Save big with low interest finance rates. And Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, a 6-time Triple Crown winner for sales and service excellence. That's why they are my trusted dealer, and they should be yours too. For 35 years and counting, come down and take a test drive today. Tell them Coach Doug Christie sent you, or shop online at FolsomLakeFord.com.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
A lot of great texts coming in, and a lot of people with this Jonas Valančiūnas and Domantas Sabonis joke. They want to use something with the Baltic Sea, the Baltic Bruisers, the Big Balts, the Baltic Beam. A lot of Baltics in there.
The one that the chat thinks is the best is the Baltic Brigade.
Baltic Brigade.
Honestly, I think that's going to replace the Baconator.
The Baltic Bulldozers, the Baltic Towers, the Baltic Bash Brothers, Lithuanian block party, the Baltic Bullies, the Viking and the Ox. Now that the Fox and the Ox are done. That should have got more play, Fox and the Ox. That should have got more play now that it's over.
You know why it didn't, right?
Why?
Because Domas does not like being called the Ox.
Why not?
Domas doesn't like being called the Ox.
The Lithuanian Lions. Yeah, did you know, for Andre Iguodala, he hated Iggy. He did not want people to call him Iggy, but it just happened.
Yeah, the Iggy one stuck. Domas, I get it. I get why you don't want to be called an Ox.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, the Viking and the Ox probably not going to work as well.
They did that interview thing where they ask questions to the player on social media, and he did say, Valančiūnas said the Vikings show on the History Channel is one of his favorite TV shows. So I believe we have some reason to go with Viking for him.
Baltic Bashers, the Baltic Beam again. Baltic Badgers, come on, block that number. From the
I do. There's a lot of things you can do BB for. There's a lot of good ones.
There are. 916 says this is the pre-All-Star break blues. In my opinion, the break can't get here fast enough. Turnovers are way too high right now. If we cut those in half, we're talking about a team that could go streaking. I'm really looking forward to the post All-Star break production for LaVine. I think he will return to his averages or at least close to it. That's from Carl. 916 also says not fair to put on LaVine. We got 3 players directly and indirectly from the Fox trade, plus still have draft choices. Yeah, but you are paying him the most. And like I said, I'm not saying that, like I said, it's a 6.5. That's where my worry meter is. I'm not at an 8. I'm not at a 9. 916 says people need to remember his wife just had a baby. And if you're a dad, you'll understand what it is to help your wife. Also, he had to make that cross-country move from Chicago to Sacramento. So he's still trying to get acclimated with no practice. Hey, I hear you. My question is, at what point will you worry? How about that? How about I flip it back onto you? So it's been 4 games now. At what point is it post All-Star break? Is that when it is? Because you have this Pelicans, you have these games coming up, and again, they won last night. I'm just asking the question. You have the obviously the All-Star break this weekend. So these 2 games, are we giving him these 2 games? And again, he's getting to 17, getting to 22. It's just on high volume. So you have these 2 games against the Pelicans, and then you have the All-Star break, right? And after that, guess who you come back against? February 21st, Jimmy Butler's Warriors. That's in Sacramento. That's going to be a fun one. They look good right now. So I'm not, like I said, I'm at a 6.5. I understand. I'm trying to figure out when to worry or because to me, that's the problem when you are looking at Zach LaVine. It's not necessarily what he's doing. What he's doing is fine. Then you look at how much he costs and you realize, as of right now, he's more expensive than De'Aaron Fox. That's the issue here. So we're giving him time. Don't worry. We're giving him time. I'm just asking, at what point will you worry? Another player we're trying to give time is Keegan Murray. All right,
Sacramento.
And again, this isn't something where I would use the word worry with Keegan Murray. I think a better word that I have is confused. I'm starting to feel confused about Keegan Murray, and here's why. So before Keegan had the help, and Jake LaRavia didn't play a ton, but before Keegan Murray had no help, it was you're asking him to do too much, right? That's what a lot of people were saying. So now you bring in help in the form of a Zach LaVine and, like I say, Jake LaRavia, and what's the next thing? Well, hey, how is he supposed to take over when there's only so many shots on the floor? So I'm starting to feel confused with how Keegan Murray is supposed to develop. When he has help, he's not let's think about Keegan and how decisive he was that first game with no Zach LaVine, no De'Aaron Fox. Do I think that's the world I want to live in? No, but Keegan Murray was handling the rock. He was shooting the rock. He was doing a lot in that Minnesota game. Now Zach LaVine comes around and it looks a little bit different. And he has his moments, But that's why I use the word confused when it comes to Keegan Murray. So Keegan Murray, since Mike Brown was relieved of his duties, 20 games, 12.1 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game, 57% true shooting, and 36% from three. So this is from Jack Dan, who does a lot of great stuff for the Kings on TikTok and on social media, things like that. And Jack goes on to say, Keegan is quietly bouncing back. Bouncing back to what, though? To being again, this is not my problem with, it's the same thing with Zach LaVine. How things are sold versus the reality of those things. If we're selling Keegan Murray as a nice young role player piece that's going to grow within the organization, then yes, I have no problem. These are fine numbers. That's all fine and good. All right. But if we're selling Keegan Murray as a 24, 25-year-old stud muffin who is eventually going to be in the conversation for a top whatever player, all right, and he's untouchable in this organization, that's where I'm struggling. Keegan Murray as a role player, I think he's properly rated. Keegan Murray as a savior, I don't really know how we're going to get there, because when he doesn't have help, he needs help. When he does have help, we don't see the initiative that we saw that first night in Minnesota with no De'Aaron Fox. So that's why the word I would use with Keegan Murray is confused. I'm confused about Keegan Murray. I'm confused. 916 is chiming in saying Keegan might be a better player coming off the bench since he seems to defer to other offensive starters. It's something that we just haven't talked about. I brought it up probably months ago, and I'm not saying to do it. What I'm saying is there's a reason why this dish is a good dish, but just doesn't make sense right now.
Yeah, to answer your original question about bouncing back from what, in the 31 games prior to Mike getting fired, Keegan was shooting 29.1% from three on 55 attempts. I don't have his true shooting. Oh, no, yes, I do. His true shooting percentage was 51.4. So he's gone from 51.4 to 57.2 and 29% at the three-point line to 36.6% at the three-point line. I think, to answer your point, he's bouncing back in the shooting department, even though with Mike as the coach, he was averaging 12 points a game. And with Doug as the coach, he's averaging 12 points a game.
So it's a better looking 12.
It's a more efficient 12. And it's not Keegan trying to find his flow in the rhythm of the offense. My point with Keegan is this, and disclosure, Keegan's my favorite player. Keegan is the fourth, maybe fifth most important offensive player on this team, while also being the most important defensive player on the team. And part of his evolution from the first season was that once you got from year one to year two, the expectation was he would be able to not just be the sit in the corner, shoot threes guy.
Right.
You know, he set the rookie record for three-pointers made because in that offense, he was sit in the corner, shoot threes, and that's all they asked him to do on offense. And his offensive bag is very much more versatile now. However, they've added even more defensive responsibility to Keegan. And so that's where his energy keeps going. And I don't think Keegan is one of those guys that is ever going to get to 20 points a game, 25 points a game on offense, because I don't think Keegan is ever going to be a number 2 or number 1 on any team in the league. And
so why is he untouchable?
I'm not saying he's untouchable. I'm saying that player should get a second contract.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But when we were having all these conversations, and we got to get to the other side, a lot of it was Keegan being untouchable. I don't know why any young player that is not viewed as ever being a number 1 or number 2 should be untouchable. And I'm not saying you should have moved him. It's just the conversation that, hey, we can't move him, but why?
Yeah, I mean, so think of it from the Cam Johnson standpoint. If Cam Johnson were on the previous version of this, I mean, you could even say this version of the Sacramento Kings, offensively, he's the number 4 or 5 scoring option, just like Keegan, and he's your number 1 option on defense. So if you think of it in that prism, Cam Johnson and Keegan Murray, even though Cam Johnson was having a better season because he was the number 2 on a terrible Brooklyn offense, Cam Johnson and Keegan would essentially play the same role on this team. And there's always a value for Cam Johnson. There's always a value for that type of player, even if it's not, they wouldn't trade him for Lauri Markkanen. And I think that is a product of, I think Lauri Markkanen's pretty overrated. So I wouldn't have traded him for Lauri Markkanen. However, I think there are players where the Kings would say, yes, we would cash in on Keegan at this point, but I don't think that player is on the market and the Kings aren't in a position to trade for that guy.
Let's talk about the turnovers. Malik Monk and his transition to starting point guard. How has Malik Monk looked so far, and can they survive with only Malik Monk handling the rock? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Keegan Murray plays here.
Keegan scores another three-pointer. Keegan Murray knocking it down for 23 points. Match De'Aaron Fox for game scoring honors.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Roseville Auto Mall.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA3 Weather Center for your Tuesday. A cold morning out there. Expect some areas of frost first thing this morning. Into the afternoon, we're looking at sun and clouds mixing in. A dry day today with high temperatures in the mid to upper 50s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
There's only one place where you'll find thousands of top brand vehicles, 17 dealers, and a friendly staff. Find the perfect ride tailored to fit your budget. Dream big and save even more during the President's Day sale at the Roseville Auto Mall. Driven to be the best.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery. Ends President's Day. Exclusively to Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sacktown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting SacktownSports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
You can finally follow through with that resolution to get into that Jeep, Ram, Dodge, or Chrysler you've always wanted at Sacramento Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. It's the place where a handshake still means something, getting you the best deals in town with the best customer experience. See for yourself. They're centrally located right next to Hagan Oaks Golf Course.
You know, when it's all on the line, you need a big-time closer, and that's especially true when it comes to your garage door. And that's why I recommend National Garage Door, 638-4554. Whitey Gleason here for National Garage Door. Whether you're looking to repair an existing door or get a brand new one installed, you need National Garage Door. Family-owned and operated. They've been around since 1974 because service is their number one priority. National Garage Door are the region's BSE, it's broken spring experts. Styles, prices, and quality of the new doors will amaze you. Our garage door was starting to sound kind of, and that's not good. So Kevin from National Garage Door came out. He said patching up the old one was an option, but we're getting a new garage door. We're pretty happy about that. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer branded garage doors. They offer sales, service, and installation on all residential and commercial doors and operators. If you have garage door needs, old ones coming apart, or you're looking to improve your curb appeal, let National Garage Door come through for you in the clutch and be your closer. 638-4554, National Garage Door.
Fall head over boots in love with music this Valentine's Day. Get ready for Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, returning May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, and more. Enjoy food trucks, mechanical bulls, and line dancing. Tickets start at just $52. Visit CITPfest.com. Brought to you by Hyatt Vacation Club. Don't just say, I love you. Show it with music. Buy tickets now.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
talking Keegan Murray and whether or not you're as confused as I am as to what to do with Keegan and if you're worried about his development at all. Not defensively, of course, but offensively. Because he does show flashes. He shows crazy flashes from time to time. By the way, speaking of crazy flashes, Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show drew 133.5 million viewers, topping Michael Jackson's longtime record as the most watched ever. Now, obviously, it was not everyone's cup of tea. I gave it a B yesterday, also understanding that it was when you have a floating grade in school where, it's not a final grade yet. And I felt like it was the only way to look at Kendrick Lamar because there's so many hidden meanings and, you go on social media and you see 5-10 different things that you missed. So after seeing everything, I am willing to bump it up to a B+. Okay, me personally. It just depends on what you want out of a Super Bowl halftime performance. I think for what Kendrick is and what he does, he nailed it, right? Is that going to be everybody's cup of tea? No. But after further review, after seeing more hidden, and again, maybe some people don't feel like dealing with that. They just want to watch Usher or whoever play the hits that you hear at weddings and dance, right? That's how some people view it. After further review, I'm willing to bump it up to a B+. And passing now, again, does it feel comfortable that it passed Michael Jackson's longtime record? I don't know, because you and that's a little bit of old school Allen coming out here with Michael Jackson and what he did. So does that feel right? I guess times are changing and how they measure this stuff is a little bit different as well. So who knows? That's why, Drake's got all these crazy records too because of streaming. So does it feel right? I don't know. But did Kendrick do a really good job for what Kendrick does? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I was in the camp of saying that was an A performance, but I think the reason that this Super Bowl halftime show was so unique and why you can't even compare it to the Michael Jackson one is this existed out. Usually the Super Bowl, like the Katy Perry Left Shark thing, usually the Super Bowl halftime show creates the pop culture moments afterwards. What Kendrick had the advantage of was everyone was flocking to it before it happened because, one, Kendrick Lamar is probably the most famous music artist in the world right now, and usually the Super Bowl doesn't get that. I said yesterday, it's like him and The Weeknd are the only ones I can think of where they're at the top of their game and, a multi-platinum artist or whatever. And number two, the Drake stuff. Like, everyone was flocking to be like, what is he going to do to make fun of Drake? So I think that's probably why it set the record, because normally everyone reacts to the halftime show afterwards. This one had the anticipation of, oh, what is he going to do? Is he going to play Not Like Us? Is he going to not play Not Like Us? Is he going to do this or that or whatever? And is he going to play the hits? Is he just going to do all this album? And
right.
I think that's what Kendrick had working to his advantage before, was that the Super Bowl halftime show was reacting around the pop culture moment of it all.
And the Serena Williams thing, with some people saying it was, hey, why are you so worried about your ex with Drake? Or is it a cool look and a full circle moment because of Serena, kind of sea walking at the Olympics and how a lot of people look down on that. So again, this thing is, and maybe it's not even a final grade yet. I don't know. Maybe it's final for me right now as a B+, and it can change again because there's going to be 10 more things that I probably missed when I go back on social media today. I don't know, but Kendrick Lamar surpassing Michael Jackson as the most viewed Super Bowl performance ever. Hey, good for him, and that is how you kind of tie a bow on a beef. As we get back to everything that the Sacramento Kings have been up to, and there hasn't been a lot of there's been beef on the court with Valančiūnas and Sabonis. And here's another one. Big borders, bearded borders. All right. I can't even read that last one, 916. You know I can't read that. And we're getting into Malik Monk. Cam Johnson, 916, asked if Cam Johnson were on the Kings, would he be a starter? And if so, who would go to the bench? I think that was a question. You know, I think that they really wanted Cam Johnson, 916, but I wish we could live in that alternate reality where we see what happens there, because I do think there's a world where Keegan comes off the bench. It's probably Cam Johnson, but I was really interested to see Keegan needs help, just to see, you know, kind of like with the Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jaden McDaniels out there in Minnesota, how they would have played that. And maybe we'll still find out in the offseason, but we are not going to find out before this season ends. So Malik Monk and what he has done at the point guard position. February 3rd in Minnesota, 26 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. February 5th in Orlando, 10 points, 0 rebounds, 3 assists. February 6th, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. February 8th, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. February 10th, 17 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists. So Malik, again, and he's been kind of struggling from three-point range. February 3rd, he was 2 for 6. After that, 1 for 4. After that, 2 for 6. After that, 2 for 8. After that, 0 for 4. So I do think we're starting to see how this is going to affect Malik, being that there's so much Malik, right? Before, he could pick his spots. Okay, it's Malik. He actually could pick his spots in different ways. First, it was picking his spots because he came in as a relief pitcher, if you will, coming in off the bench. I'm just going to go, to the wall, and that's all I need to do. It's just pedal to the metal. Then he became a starter, but you still had De'Aaron Fox when De'Aaron felt like, being engaged. So some nights Malik still kind of set the tone, but it was still, hey, De'Aaron, when do you want to go? Or, hey, DeMar DeRozan, when do you want to go? Now it's a lot of Malik Monk. You have one less ball handler, adding Zach LaVine and losing De'Aaron Fox. So it's a lot of Malik, and I think the most obvious place we're seeing this, and I don't know if it's a in the legs thing, but I do wonder with how much Malik is playing and how hard he plays, is that affecting his three-point shooting? Because he's doing so much, and I'd have to examine how all the threes miss, but it does. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Malik Monk's three-point shooting dipping is connected to just his usage going way up.
Well, so here's an interesting phenomenon on that. So Malik Monk in these 5 games is shooting 25% from the three-point line. Mm-hmm. Before De'Aaron got traded. So basically, I grabbed the stats to compare from when Malik went into the starting lineup, which was December 1st, all the way until Fox got traded, which was February 1st. During that stretch, he was shooting 32% from the three-point line. So he's down 7%. Mm-hmm. However, and I was surprised by this, during those 2 months of December and January, he was taking 7.7 three-pointers per game. Mm-hmm. These last 5 games, he's only taking 5.6 three-pointers per game. So his shooting is down, but he's taking 2 less three-pointers per game. Mm-hmm. Now, you would think, okay, that makes sense. His shooting goes down because he's now primary ball handler, distributor, things like that. Well, in this small sample size, his shots per game have actually gone up. He's shooting 17 shots a game as the starting point guard, 16 shots a game when he was the starting 2 guard. And obviously Fox was out for a few games, so he moved into the point guard for that.
Right.
But he's taking more shots per game by a little bit right now, shooting 40% from the field compared to 44%. So he's taking more 2s per game, almost about 3 more per game, and he's shooting a higher percentage from 2 than he was before, which I would not have guessed watching the Kings game. Not only that he's taking less three-pointers than when he was the 2 guard, but he's also taking more 2s and making 2s at a higher percentage than he was before.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know what to do with any of that right now, but as far as Malik Monk and turning the ball over, it's just going to be a different experience, right? The two-man game, and he hasn't even necessarily learned how to work the two-man game with Valančiūnas. I think that's going to be, we talk about counter punches and how the two-man game was normally a counter punch in this offense and how it looks a little bit different with it being one of the main points of the offense now. So now you get Valančiūnas in there who gives you just a different look than Domantas Sabonis. In some ways, he has better touch than Domantas Sabonis with those push shots and things like that. So Domantas Sabonis normally has to get all the way to the rim. Valančiūnas doesn't have to do that. So I think there's still another layer of this offense that's going to come out. And again, we're just waiting and trying to figure out how long is it going to take in order for that to happen. As we discuss Malik Monk as a ball handler, let's talk about another stat that proves Keon Ellis is still somehow underrated. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sacktown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com.
It was 1879 when the first President's Day was established, and it's been a holiday ever since. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. I'm guessing when the Keys family opened the first Naturewood Home Furnishing store in 1948, a President's Day sale was not top of the mind. But the family probably celebrated the holiday with a picnic and a big slice of cherry pie. The store name Naturewood was selected to reflect the quality of the wood furniture for sale, and that focus on quality continues today with brands like FlexSteel, Trailway, Stickley, Fusion Designs, Stanton, and many, many more. The Naturewood Home Furnishings President's Day sale is the perfect time for you to find the right accent piece for your living room, a new bed for your bedroom, or to completely refurnish your entire home. See all the fine furniture and accessories on sale with Naturewood's President's Day sale. Find that perfect piece of furniture that's new today and filled with memories for tomorrow. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
This year, resolve to save on the all-new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy with $8,000 off MSRP after rebates on over 30 new half-ton Silverado LT and RST after rebates. And Maida Chevy has one of the largest selections of new 2025 Silverados in the Sacramento area. $8,000 off new 2025 Silverado at Maida Chevy. Now that's big, huge. See them all at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Not available with special financing, lease, and some other offers. Used on 2011 or newer Chevrolet.
I've just been feeling so sluggish lately. You should try the Metamucil 2-Week Challenge. The Metamucil 2-Week Challenge? Yeah, Metamucil 4-in-1 Fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Start your daily routine now, and in 2 weeks, you could be feeling great. Well, it's been 2 weeks. How you feeling? Lighter and feeling great.
If you want to feel lighter by promoting digestive health, sign up to take the 2-week challenge at Metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Fabrice.
Fabric Talk.
Hello, my love. I am your living room carpet. I see everything. I feel everything. After a while, I smell like everything, including Sir Pickles, who you snuggle with while binging that dating show you can't stop watching. So, how about we freshen things up with Fabrice Fabric Spray? And a big spray for my pals, couch and ottoman. Ah, yes, refreshing. Breathe happy, Fabrice. La 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 la.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
The big
Big O Tire's President's Day sale is here. Enjoy historic savings with buy 3 get 1 free on our exclusive Big O branded tires. And every set is backed by our ProTech warranty. Installation required. Disposal fees extra. Not good with other offers. See Big O dealer for details. Valid through February 17th.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
A little bit of Zach LaVine hate coming in here. 2 different 916 numbers. Has LaVine played any defense since leaving UCLA? Nope. That's from the 916. From another 916, if LaVine doesn't find the 3 ball, this trade is on pace with the Mavs. Stop it. Stop it. Come on now.
Come on, we still have Minnesota's unprotected 2031 first
This
round
is not even close. This is not even close, all right? And part of the reason it's not close is because you're talking about a Luka Doncic who is highly decorated. All right, I'm not even going to go into the De'Aaron Fox part of it, but come on, 916. Even if he doesn't find his 3. If he doesn't find his 3, I mean, you might still be stuck on the hook with him. That'd have to be another year because the player option is not until next season. So then, if I'm not mistaken, he would opt in at the end of next season, and then you'd have to pay him $50 million. And look, by that time, and I'm not trying to make a joke, but at that time, this team is probably gutted and Zach LaVine probably plays much better because you're basically in Chicago. So at some point, he's going to find it. It's just a matter of will he find it while it still matters. All right. So yeah, he's on contract for the end of this season and then next season. And then after 2025, he's owed $47 million next season. Then after that, he can opt in going into the 2026-2020 season at $48.9 million. And at that point in time, he opts in. Who knows what this team is looking like? It's just a matter of finishing out this season and what the team can do, not just him, but what the team can do next season as he's making $47 million.
With the assumption, I guess, that Malik Monk, DeMar DeRozan, and Keegan Murray are all going to be back next year?
Yes. Next year is the year where you make a run at this thing and you're going to have to find some version. I think the Jake LaRavia move, and we've talked already a good bit about the contract situation and why you probably can't hold on to him. I think a good reason, number one, you still needed a backup wing, but I think another good reason to get Jake LaRavia is to see how it does help Keegan. I think even in this small sample size, you get somebody in Jake LaRavia who goes 6'8", who can shoot the 3 ball, that gives Keegan a little bit of a break. Now, right now, we've honestly been seeing, you're still getting Jake LaRavia a part of the mix. So you're seeing Keon come in for Keegan. You're just seeing all of those guys kind of rotate. And when you see Keegan guarding Kyrie, you understand why that makes sense. And specifically yesterday, to be fair, that team was tiny. So that's a Mavs team where you can do that. But I would say that you still bring in Jake LaRavia just to see what Keegan looks like with a little bit of help on that second line when Jake LaRavia comes in. So look, I think they've done a lot of good things. Is it all going to make sense? I have no clue, but we will be entertained and frustrated every single night. That is definitely going to be the case. But on pace with the Mavs, come on.
I would normally say that they have a year and a half with this group, but honestly, after they did whatever they did with De'Aaron Fox, I don't know how the timelines are going to work. I don't even know if Monty's going to be the one making the team decisions next year, the personnel decisions. And if you make that switch, then who knows what the roster will look like. But I do think, practically speaking, unless they choose to trade DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Domantas Sabonis, Malik Monk, Keegan Murray will all probably be back next year. And if you bring back DeRozan, then there's not much wiggle room to make a big time switch. You have your mid-level exception money. That'll help with the bench. You have other avenues to make trades. You might have a first-round pick this year, depending on how the season goes. So, and you might have future Charlotte second-round picks you can use to trade back into the draft if you wanted to. So there's avenues to make improvement, even if the core 5 players now, if you swap out Fox for LaVine, are pretty, well, I guess Valančiūnas too. So core 6 players are pretty solidly intact.
916 says, if I am Keegan, seeing DeMar and LaVine dribble the air out of the ball while I am wide open after playing defense, I'm getting out as soon as possible. I don't know, 916. I don't know if we're watching the same game. I mean, yeah, you have DeMar when he gets going, and you have Zach LaVine who's trying to get going, but I don't know if we're watching the same game where Keegan, he gets the ball a decent bit, and the whole thing of it is going back to last season. Even Mike Brown would say Keegan has to take more initiative to say, hey, this is my time to do this. And Mike Brown was saying that while De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk were still on the team. So I don't know how egregious it is right now, especially when you have, here's the thing. DeMar DeRozan didn't come out here to have to drop 42 to beat a Mavericks team missing anything that resembles a center, okay, and no Luka Doncic. I don't think that's how DeMar DeRozan drew this up. I really don't. But you're looking around saying, okay, who's it going to be? Malik Monk is in a transition period, turning into the point guard. Zach LaVine's in a transition period. Keegan Murray, whose fault is it? And I understand touches are a real thing, but whose fault is it that Keegan Murray didn't attempt a shot in the first half? I don't know that that's necessarily Keegan. I don't know that that's necessarily anybody else's fault, right? Is that Malik's fault? I'm not seeing them look off Keegan Murray. Is it Doug Christie's fault? Maybe. In the second half, he got going a little bit. So I don't know if it's a matter of, Keegan they need to get Keegan the ball more. Keegan Murray has to also, and again, just like most things in life, Keegan Murray has to show some initiative as well. It's a two-way street. We wanted to get to this Keon Ellis note, the most points per possession in transition in the 2024-2025 NBA regular season. So you have, starting at number 5, you have Pascal Siakam tied with Taurean Prince at 1.37, and you have Matas Buzelis, my guy, he's starting to look good now, at 1.38, Nikola Jovic at 1.4, and you have Keon Ellis at number 1 at 1.42, most points per possession in transition, the 2024-2025 season. That's from Stat Defender. Then they go on to ask, what grade would you give Keon Ellis for the season he has had so far? Yeah, I think Keon, to me, you talk about what Kendrick did and how I think that's a B+. Keon, to me, is got to be a firm A. And I don't even think it's an A-. What he's been able to do on this team through all of the garbage that has happened. You lose De'Aaron Fox, you lose a coach, you're in the doghouse, you're out of the doghouse. Keon Ellis, by far a number 1, and as we know, he is the reigning champ for our Found Money Award. All right, so the 916 is chiming into this conversation. West Sac Noah, spacing and tempo is all they need to practice. That too, though, Noah. That too. They haven't really gotten to practice. And I know a lot of other teams haven't gotten to practice either. I think they're all going to look better. I think the Lakers are going to look better, which is scary. I think the Warriors are going to look better, which is scary. The Warriors have had maybe the most seamless transition because Jimmy Butler is a version of Andrew Wiggins. So what you lost there is similar. Right, they're not exactly the same, and Jimmy Butler has been around this league. He understands how to be flexible in these situations. Zach LaVine for De'Aaron Fox, look, numbers-wise similar, but they are two completely different players. And you're trying to add in, you finally got Valančiūnas, who you haven't had, and no disrespect to Alex Len, who the Lakers might pick up, but when it comes to having a Valančiūnas and somebody where, Domantas Sabonis isn't playing 47 minutes tonight. So there is quite the transition period that the Kings are going through. The tough part is nobody's going to feel sorry for you, but it doesn't change the fact that there are things that they need to do. Domantas Sabonis played 42 minutes in an overtime game. Do you know how many minutes he would have played before Valančiūnas got added in an overtime game? Got to be at least 45, at least.
And remember, Valančiūnas fouled out of this game.
That's right. So it wouldn't have even been that high.
Yeah, they would have probably played him less.
Malik Monk played 43 minutes. DeMar DeRozan played 39 minutes. Look, and to that point, going back to the DeMar DeRozan dribbling the ball, look, I'm not going to sit here and if you want to do it, 916, you can do it. But I have nothing negative to say about DeMar DeRozan after dropping 42 at 35 years old. The dude played 39 minutes. All right? I guarantee you we're all on the same page, including DeMar DeRozan. That is not how they drew this up. But that is where they are right now. And you got to find a way to get the W's. All right. On the way back, a little bit of pocket watching. I said it wasn't a great night, but as I'm double checking, maybe it's a little bit better. Maybe it was a little bit better than I initially thought. Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Keegan Murray is Sacktown Sports.
Out to Keegan Murray, straight away for three, and Keegan knocks down the triple.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Keegan Murray, and you're listening to the home of Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
I joined the military for my kid and his mom. I miss my son a lot. One of the things with the military is tobacco, but I saw a lot of people try to deal with mental issues. Everyone's vaping constantly. After my first hit of a vape, I was hooked like that. Once I got back home from my deployment, I caught my son trying to hit my vape. That was it. I had to quit.
Californians are beating big tobacco. You can too. For free support, text Kick Nicotine to 66819 today.
Jerry and Kenny here from Bell Brothers. And if you've even thought of replacing your old, outdated, inefficient windows, now is the time to take action.
Right now at Bell Brothers, when you buy one window, you'll get the second one for 30% off. That's right. Buy one, get the second one 30% off.
That's real savings, up to $6,000. You have to buy at least 4 windows to qualify, and you can't mix windows and doors. But beyond that, every second window is 30% off.
For example, when you buy 10 windows, you will get 5 windows at 30% off. We also have 0% interest financing available for qualified buyers. Call for details.
To take advantage of our buy one, get one 30% off sale, call Bell Brothers now at 916-444-1234 or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Okay, guys, who is done with their Valentine's Day shopping? What are you waiting for? Stop putting off your Valentine's Day shopping and go to Prestigio Jewelers today.
She's right. Prestigio Jewelers has everything you need for Valentine's this year, and you're approved to guaranteed. No credit, bad credit, even bankruptcy? 6 months proof of income guarantees you a credit line of $400 to $10,000. Time is running out. Make this a Valentine's Day she'll never forget. Visit one of our showrooms today or online at prestigiojewelers.com.
You know, when it's all on the line, you need a big-time closer, and that's especially true when it comes to your garage door. And that's why I recommend National Garage Door, 638-4554. Whitey Gleason here for National Garage Door. Whether you're looking to repair an existing door or get a brand new one installed, you need National Garage Door. Family owned and operated. They've been around since 1974 because service is their number one priority. National Garage Door are the region's BSE. It's broken spring experts. Styles, prices, and quality of the new doors will amaze you. Our garage door was starting to sound kind of and that's not good. So Kevin from National Garage Door came out. He said patching up the old one was an option, but we're getting a new garage door. We're pretty happy about that. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer branded garage doors. They offer sales, service, and installation on all residential and commercial doors and operators. If you have garage door needs, old ones coming apart, or you're looking to improve your curb appeal, let National Garage Door come through for you in the clutch and be your closer. 638-4554, National Garage Door.
Serious accident. You deserve the law offices of Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237. Jeremy lost his mother in a car accident and knows firsthand the pain caused by tragedy. That is why he became an attorney to fight for others who are going through a tragedy. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237.
Discover unbeatable value at Folsom Buick GMC this President's Day. Drive with assurance and our 20-year, 200,000-mile powertrain warranty. Enjoy $10,000 off all 2024 Hummer EVs, plus 0% APR for 60 months for qualified buyers. Lease the 2025 Hummer EV for just $818 per month. These offers end March 3rd, 2025. Visit Folsom Buick GMC today, your EV headquarters for power, performance, and savings. Select units and check dealer for details.
KHTK HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sacktown Sports 1140.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Well, during the break, someone got paid. And that someone is a former name. I don't think they make their way onto the best king that never was, because that is obviously Kyle Kuzma. But as far as the honorable mention for that list, Brandon Ingram got traded to the Raptors when the Raptors just decided, one thing I do appreciate about teams is when they make decisions simply because their guys deserve it, right? And the Raptors in rebuild mode, not really sure when they were going to turn this thing around. I think the Raptors are a good name, a good team to keep an eye on too if you are one of those Sacramento Kings blow it up and rebuild fans, because that's a team who they go out, they get their guy in Scotty Barnes, who did take a bit of a leap last season. Okay, you have Grady Dick, who started out quietly, but that's just him getting used to the league. He's played pretty darn well this season. You make that move with the Knicks. You make that move with the Pacers. You get Emmanuel Quickly back, who reminds me of a version of Malik Monk. Not really sure what to do with him, but you start seeing, hey, Grady Dick's playing pretty well, and hey, Scotty Barnes is actually pretty good. All right, let's see what we can do. Let's see what's out there. They go on to get Brandon Ingram, who was a name, and it didn't work out in New Orleans. He wanted $50 million. Everybody said, yeah, you're not that guy, pal. But they land on a $40 million a year deal. Not the New Orleans Pelicans. He left them. The Toronto Raptors and Brandon Ingram from Shams. New Toronto Raptors star Brandon Ingram has agreed to a 3-year, $120 million contract extension with the franchise, including a player option in 2027, 2028. Clutch Sports CEO, just can't get away from that guy. Rich Paul and Shay and Mike George told Shams and Bobby Marks. Ingram was traded by the Pelicans to the Raptors last week and now arrives in Toronto with a lucrative extension. The new deal shows a commitment on both sides as the Raptors lock in a shot creator and offensive force surrounding Scotty Barnes. So Raptors are trying to look, when you're in the Eastern Conference, you might as well pay somebody, because you're going to mess around and get in the play-in. They can get into the play-in next season now.
They could get in the play-in right now.
They get in the play-in right now.
I think the Bulls, who are 24-31, are the 10 seed in the East right now. So Toronto can absolutely get there right now.
Bulls are 22-31. The Raptors are 6 games behind them with 37 losses. So they can make it spicy at the very least, but this is a move for the future. And, like I said, a couple of their guys have had some good moments, but they needed something to bring it together. And this is not necessarily a move for this season, of course. It's a move to get the fans in the six excited for next season. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, you know how we do NBA tiers of like championship contenders, play-in teams? The Raptors right now are in my personal favorite tier, which is League Pass team.
Yeah.
Them and the Nets are both like, I just really want to see what they look like. Are they going to be good? No. Do I really want to see how Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, and Jakob Poeltl play together? Yes.
Why not? Why not? The 279 says, what are we talking about, by the way? Get rid of Deebo next year, ? Deebo is the only reason this team isn't falling apart. DeMar, Sabonis, Ellis, and Monk are untouchable. Everyone else can and should get moved this offseason. So what? The obvious name there would be Keegan Murray and Zach LaVine. Yeah, 279. I would say this. It really comes down to once this season ends, I don't think any big name is getting moved this offseason. I don't think from the Sacramento Kings. I also don't know who's going to be the GM. By the way, in an hour, we will be replaying the interview from this morning where Monty McNair joined the morning show with Carmichael Dave and Jason Ross. But yeah, I'm not really sure that anybody is getting moved this offseason because this is, in my opinion, kind of Monty McNair's swan song. This is what he's been able to do. It's a decent enough roster. You got your big man. You got you got a backup wing. De'Aaron Fox and some of the decisions made there, it is what it is. You got a decent haul for a guy who said, I'm going to one team. I think that's fair to say. How they ended up there, we can have that conversation. But as far as once you got there, you got a decent haul back for a team that said, or for a player that said, I'm only going to one team. And you have to find a way to make it work. So I don't think anybody is really getting moved this offseason. I think as far as Monty McNair is concerned, he's just sitting there praying, saying, I hope this works. And I hope that the dish actually does come together. And how that, like he said, his goal, his job is to get them to the playoffs. So speaking of the playoffs, let's get into a little bit of pocket watching. After last night, like I said, the Kings do get a W, but they're all still stuck. There are 4 teams with 26 losses chasing that 7 seed in the Minnesota Timberwolves, who did lose last night. So you have the Timberwolves at the 7 with 24 losses, the Mavericks at the 8 with 26, and really that whole thing, that should flip because the Kings have that tiebreaker. So you have the Mavericks, but the Mavericks have another win. That's why. So then you have the Kings and the Warriors with the same exact record, can just not get away from them. And if the season ended today, it would be exactly the same as last season with the Warriors headed to the Golden One Center. And I'm going to tell you right now, I wouldn't want to see them. I would not want to see them. It's just a numbers game, and the Kings have been whooping on the Warriors, and the Kings whooped on the Warriors in the play-in, and the Warriors got a bully now and Jimmy Butler. They're calling him the chef and the butler. I don't want to see them. I'd like to avoid them. I've seen enough. As far as what happened last night, the Timberwolves got an L against the Cavaliers, and earlier in the show we talked about the rough go that they have. What's crazy is the Warriors kind of got lucky with Giannis being out. They had to go to Milwaukee last night, but they get to face the Bucks without Giannis. So the Warriors get that win there, and they took care of business. The Thunder take care of business against the Pelicans. That was light work for them. The Mavericks lose to the Sacramento Kings, and the Lakers, they take down the Jazz, who are awful. In tonight's action, nothing too crazy. I mean, you'd like the Grizzlies to beat the Suns just so that's not another team that you're worried about. So the Grizzlies take on the Suns in Club Phoenix, and it's pretty quiet night tonight, and we'll get to tomorrow when we get to tomorrow. Obviously, the Bucks. Now the Bucks, again, the Timberwolves having to deal with some tough matchups, but they get the Bucks without Giannis. So that's kind of a nice break for them. Suns take on the Rockets. The Kings, of course, take on the Pelicans. So you got to keep pace, man. The Warriors get the Mavericks, but the Warriors get the Mavericks without Luka and probably not going to have a big man again tomorrow night. And then you have Grizzlies, Clippers. And, we're still paying attention to that 6th seed. You never know. It would be nice for the Grizzlies to do our bidding and take care of the Los Angeles Clippers. So a couple different opportunities for the Kings. You know how I feel about it. I'm only looking at that 7 seed. I think you can, very realistic to get the 7 seed. You win and you're in. And honestly, I'm just saying the 7 seed. But in all honesty, I'm good with the 8 seed. I'm good with having 2 chances to get in that aren't win and you're in. So last year, where the Kings had to beat the Warriors just to not get eliminated, and then ultimately, technically they only lost 1 game, but that's all they could lose. And they had to play the Pelicans. So you get 7 or 8. That's where I'm at with this group. You get to 7 or 8. Give yourself 2 chances, and you would give yourself at least 1 home game either way. You might get 2 home games if you get to the 7. So you give yourself at least 1 home game in a win and you're in situation, not a win to survive situation. I'll take it. That's where I'm at with this season, man. I'm not even looking. I'm still looking at the 6th seed a little bit, but that's it. That's it to me.
I guess the nice thing is that the Rockets are maybe giving someone a chance here, and maybe the Timberwolves are going to fade further. I just feel like Minnesota's going to end up being the 7 or the 8. That just feels right for Minnesota based on how they've played this year. The Clippers were really hot. Then they came back down to earth. I expect that we joke the Clippers are always good for the 5 seed. I expect that's where the Clippers will end up. So it just depends how you feel about the Mavericks and Suns, right? If the Kings get to 45 wins, do you think the Mavericks and Suns are going to fall off hard enough to protect that 8 or 9 position? I don't know.
I don't know. And when are you going to get AD back?
Well, apparently it's going to be 3 weeks to a month.
Lakers currently in the 4 seed. Kyle bringing up the free-falling Rockets. Lakers are in the 4 seed with an they could catch the Nuggets.
Oh, my God.
They could catch the Nuggets in the 3 seed. And dare I say, now that I keep looking, I mean, they're 2.5 games back of the Grizzlies in the 2 seed.
I'm going to tell you exactly what I want here. And the Nuggets, since January 1st, have been the 2nd best team in the West. So let's say the Nuggets stay at that pace and catch the Grizzlies. Let's say the Lakers stay at their pace and they catch the Grizzlies. What I need, 2nd round, for the right to play Oklahoma City, Luka versus Jokic, Westbrook versus the Lakers.
Yeah.
That rivalry already being Lakers fans' nightmare fuel because of Jamal Murray hitting buzzer beater after buzzer beater on them in the playoffs. That I don't care how we get it. Get me that Lakers Nuggets playoff series. Somehow, some way, get me Lakers versus Nuggets.
Yeah, and look, there's definitely a path here. The teams that are kind of rolling right now, last 10 for a couple of them. Thunder 8-2 their last 10, Grizzlies 8-2 their last 10, Nuggets 7-3, Lakers 9-1, Timberwolves 7-3. So there are some teams that are rolling right now, and the Kings have to keep pace. That's the only way they're going to be able to be in a win and you're in situation. On the other side, you finally got your big man, Sacramento. How you feeling about Jonas Valančiūnas? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Folsom Lake Kia.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA3 Weather Center. We're looking at sun and clouds for the afternoon on this Tuesday. A pretty nice winter day to do things outdoors. Highs today will peak in the mid to upper 50s. Expect overnight lows under clear skies to drop back to the 30s by early Wednesday. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
The President's Day sales event is back at Folsom Lake Kia. Save a bunch of presidents on your favorite new Kia models, all with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Go see the team you can trust. My friends at Folsom Lake Kia.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery. Ends President's Day. Exclusively the Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
When you bundle renters and auto with Progressive, you can save while protecting your most valuable possessions, like your priceless vinyl collection. Sure, you sleep on a futon because the money most people would have spent on a bed you spent on more records. But forget the fact that you can stream just about any song ever created for a few dollars a month. No, you need to listen to music in the most difficult way possible. So go ahead and get Progressive so you can save while protecting the things that matter to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
"45 minutes, we will replay Monty McNair, who was on the morning show, Kings GM. I'm just reading this from Ian. If you're just now joining us, thank you for joining us. Sack Chat and the text line, 916-339-1140. How you feeling about the Sacramento Kings? We talk a little bit about Jonas Valančiūnas. We've been trying to figure out a nickname for when Jonas Valančiūnas and Domantas Sabonis are on the floor together. I guess you could use it either way. Ian has the Lithuanians.
I
like that?
I like that.
The Lithuanians.
The Lithuanians. You got to say it like, without
the Lithuanians.
Lithuanians. It sounds like
it's not awful.
No, it's like Daffy Duck trying to say it.
Yes, it's not
Lithuanians.
awful. It's not awful. I'll give you that. So good job to Ian. I
have access to the YouTube now, so if we can get our top 3, we can pull it out to people. If we can pick our top 3 right now, we can put it out for the people to decide by the end of the show.
What is it? What was mine? Big Beef, the Beef Brothers.
Beef Brothers. You were a fan of Beef Brothers. I have to pick one.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh. I think the people want us to nominate, I think it was, was it Baltic?
There was a lot of
Baltic.
Bruisers.
Yeah. Gosh, I'll give me a second. I'll go back and figure out what our favorites were.
The Baltic Beasts, that's from the 530. A lot of Baltics. The Baltic Bashers, just add one. Just put Baltic, and anyone can fill it in with whatever they want. And then there was another one too.
The person on the chat line that said Lithuanian lumber, that was clever, but of all the L words, I think that was the best one.
Okay. Lithuanian Block Party, the Viking, the Ox. Domantas Sabonis doesn't like Ox. That's why Fox and Ox never went. All right. As we kind of break down what Jonas Valančiūnas has been, and has he been everything that we've always wanted? Real quick, as far as the easiest opponents and toughest opponents' strength of schedule left for all the NBA teams, the Kings sit in a pretty decent spot. All right, 29 games left. The Kings are at number 11 for strength of schedule. That ain't bad. That's not bad at all. So some of their toughest opponents, the Kings somehow have 2 games left against the Cavs. That's not great. They have 1 game left against the Thunder, 2 against the Cavs, 1 against the Celtics, 1 against the Grizzlies, 1 against the Knicks, and 2 against the Nuggets. But they still have, so they're counting. This is the thing, man. When, Dave said he's hoping or he's expecting a split in New Orleans. You can't really have that. You have another game against the Wizards, 2 games against the Pelicans, 1 game against the Jazz, 2 games against the Hornets, 1 against the Bulls, 1 against the Blazers. Look, are you going to go undefeated there? Yeah, probably not, but it'd be really nice. I mean, you kind of should. Based on the numbers, you kind of should. These teams are not good. Some of the teams in front of the Kings who are in the same play-in battle with them, Phoenix has the toughest strength of schedule left. They have 3 against the Grizzlies, 2 against the Celtics, 1 against the Thunder, 1 against the Knicks as well, and 1 against the Nuggets. Another team. So the Clippers are 4th when it comes to strength of schedule. If those of you still holding out hope for the 6th seed, Clippers have 1 against the Thunder, 2 against the Cavs, 2 against the Grizzlies, 2 against the Knicks, 1 against the Rockets, 2 against the Lakers. So I like that. The Lakers destroyed the Clippers last time they faced them. Besides that, Lakers are sitting at number 8. And unfortunately, I mean, look, the fact that the Clippers are there and the Lakers could be worse, right? A team that you would have liked to see there. The Timberwolves all the way at 24th for strength of schedule remaining. So Timberwolves kind of have as many jokes as I have said about the Timberwolves playing some really tough games. They play the Thunder 3 more times. Then they play the Grizzlies once, the Nuggets twice, the Lakers once. They have the Pacers on there for toughest opponents. So Pacers twice and the Rockets once. So Minnesota's sitting at 24th.
Yeah, I just went through the Timberwolves schedule after that stretch you were talking about. It lightens up. It's Jazz, Suns, 76ers, Hornets, the whatever version of the Miami Heat is left. Spurs, Nuggets, that's a hard one. Magic, it's kind of a hard one. Jazz, Pacers, Pelicans, Pacers, Suns. It gets a lot easier for that. Nets, 76ers. So it gets easier down the stretch for the Timberwolves. I feel like the Timberwolves are just destined for that 7 seed, though.
Yeah, 18 coming in at number 18, the Mavericks, and coming in at number 19, the Golden State Warriors. So all the teams that are ahead of the Kings have harder schedules, but they're better teams. The teams underneath the Sacramento Kings have easier schedules. So it's going to be tight. It's going to be very tight down the stretch. And that's why I'm sitting here looking at this, and you look at 2 games against the Pelicans. I'm sorry, you need to win those games. And you still owe them. You lost to them 6 times. All right. You still owe them.
Yeah.
So just because you won last game, you still owe them plenty of W's.
But this is kicking them while they're down. They are literally the last place team in the West.
I don't care.
This is like, this is like when your bully, you confront your high school bully when you're an adult. And by the way, that guy has had some terrible accident happen to them. And so now it's like, well, now it's not even.
It is like, literally in the last Avengers when Thanos was all old, still beat him. Beat him down. Whoop him good. I don't care.
All right, real quick before we go to break, I've assembled our definitive list of candidates that we're going to have the people vote on in the last hour and a half of the show. On YouTube, by the way, Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports YouTube channel.
There you go.
All right, so we're going to go with Beef Brothers, the Baltic Brigade, the Lithuanian Lumber, Dojo, or House of Dojo for Domantas Sabonis, Doho, Jojo. Those are the 4 we're going to go with. Honorable mention, Valančiūnas Prime, because that made me laugh. It's not going to get on the ballot, but just honorable mention for David in the chat who came up with that one.
There you go. Get them up, and let's see what everyone likes best. Speaking of Valančiūnas, has he been everything that Kings fans have always wanted? Allen Stiles, Sacktown Sports.
Fall head over boots in love with music this Valentine's Day. Get ready for Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, returning May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, and more. Enjoy food trucks, mechanical bulls, and line dancing. Tickets start at just $52. Visit CITPfest.com. Brought to you by Hyatt Vacation Club. Don't just say, I love you. Show it with music. Buy tickets now.
When an overwhelmed injury victim calls Ashton or Price, We immediately removed their legal burden and introduced them to the very best medical care in the region. They focus on their health, and we handle all the rest. When they reach the end of their medical journey and are reunited with happiness and hope, we unleash our decades of legal experience to obtain maximum compensation. We are real, local, experienced litigators and snappy dressers, too. Consultation's free, and there's never a fee until we win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio know that golf should be fun. They also know that players of all abilities will hit the ball farther and straighter, play better golf, shoot lower scores, and have more fun if they get fitted before they purchase golf clubs. Hagen Oaks delivers the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA professionals. See how the game can be even more fun. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave coming to you from my good friends at American Energy. Look, it's already cold outside. It's only going to get colder. American, hope you stay warm and make sure your system is operating safely. So right now is the time to take advantage of the $49 tune-up inspection. Normally $119, $49 right now, and that includes a full safety and duct inspection. And check it out. If your system's over 10 years old, and I'll bet it is, the tune-up, yeah, it's free. It's free from a company that's been in business since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ Better Business Bureau. Check their Yelp, check their Google reviews. Don't take my word for it. Give them a call right now. $50 off your first recommended repair. If you need a new furnace, half off the price of a new unit. Check them out at the AEway.com and tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
It was 1879 when the first President's Day was established, and it's been a holiday ever since. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. I'm guessing when the Keys family opened the first Naturewood Home Furnishing store in 1948, a President's Day sale was not top of the mind. But the family probably celebrated the holiday with a picnic and a big slice of cherry pie. The store name Naturewood was selected to reflect the quality of the wood furniture for sale, and that focus on quality continues today with brands like FlexSteel, Trailway, Stickley, Fusion Designs, Stanton, and many, many more. The Naturewood Home Furnishings President's Day sale is the perfect time for you to find the right accent piece for your living room, a new bed for your bedroom, or to completely refurnish your entire home. See all the fine furniture and accessories on sale with Naturewood's President's Day sale. Find that perfect piece of furniture that's new today and filled with memories for tomorrow. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Talking Jonas Valančiūnas. 279 says, yes, he's what we wanted, just 2 years too late. We needed him in the playoffs bad. Kings will finish at the 4-5 seed. Remember this, too. There is not one person in Sacramento who wants a ring for this season, for this city, more than Doug Christie. I believe in D.C. Let his knowledge make the playoffs. Kings will flip that switch. I believe it. That's from the 279. And Jonas Valančiūnas, you know, it feels like his impact has been, I don't want to say a lot greater than it actually has been, but what he has brought to the team, a little bit of nastiness, okay? You know, he blocked that shot a couple games ago, and he's kind of shimmying to the bench. They also did change that to a foul, but it doesn't matter because that's the type of stuff that he's been doing. He gives me Tyson Fury vibes in a way, just how he kind of goes about his business and just doesn't really care. And you can tell that he's excited to be with Domantas Sabonis. So in the couple games that he's been with the Kings, if I were to tell you that he's been a minus as far as plus minuses are concerned in 2 of the 3 games, you probably wouldn't believe it, you know, and that's why plus or minus, a lot of people aren't necessarily fully in on it in 1 game sample sizes because it does not feel like that at all. And he played 17 minutes against Portland. I thought he played well. He had 6 points. He did have 5 rebounds as well against New Orleans. He had 6 points again in that game. He was a positive 18. He played 14 minutes, 5 total rebounds, 4 fouls. And last night he does foul out, but he had 13 points, was a -6, and he had 8 rebounds. So to me, win or positive or negative, I would say that last game was maybe his best game, in my opinion, or last night was his best game, in my opinion. So I really like what he brings. This is definitely just a group of, hey, we're just going to put dudes together, and anything that's ever been asked for, we're just going to do it. And 916 is chiming in. I had to double check this. 916 says, Jonas is seriously old, 2 years left in the league. Well, I'm going to take that some type of way, 916, because he's 32. He's 32 years old. He's not, I don't know, maybe it's because of how he plays, but he's 32 years old. He is not 40 or anything crazy like that. But, to me, obviously vibes are important. And I think Domantas Sabonis likes having Jonas Valančiūnas on the team. But in addition to him liking having his buddy on the team, I think it's something that Domas has really needed. And we talk about Keegan Murray needing help. We also talk about Domantas Sabonis needing help. And Jonas Valančiūnas, the biggest thing to me is the fact that offensively he can do some things. He can be, you can throw the ball into him. He can get those offensive rebounds. He has the touch on the push shot. He's taken a 3. I don't know if he's made a 3, but I definitely saw him take a 3. So he adds a level of just another level of flexibility that the Kings did not have with Alex Len. He adds an attitude that the Kings, I think, are trying to get night in, night out. And I'm really excited for it. How long will it last? I don't know, but I do think it's exactly what the Kings needed, not just because of what he can do as far as spelling Domantas Sabonis, but offensively he can do some things. And 279, why couldn't Len just come off the bench and do this? Couple points and well, because he's not as good. He's not as good. Len has been killing this team for years. Yeah. I mean, they don't get paid the same either. How about that?
Yeah.
Jonas Valančiūnas is making a lot more money than Alex Len.
Yeah, and you were getting the production that you got from Alex Len as a minimum contract guy, but the NBA, you still need 7-footers. Like, as much as the analytics revolution pushes people out to the 3-point line and 6'3" Steph Curry can be the best player in the NBA, like, you still need 7-footers. And while I didn't think that they needed to upgrade from Len to Valančiūnas, especially with the limited second-round pick draft capital that they had, once they moved on from De'Aaron Fox, it opened up a lot more flexibility for them to make moves like that. And so CD Sissoko and a couple second-round picks is not that bad of a trade-off for Jonas Valančiūnas in a separate deal by itself. Now, when you take it in totality with how they ended up getting Jonas Valančiūnas, it's like, okay, you had to give up De'Aaron Fox and Kevin Huerter to make it happen in the first place, and that's a separate conversation about the, broader macro where are
how
the
they
Kings
got
go.
there. Yes, yeah, exactly.
It doesn't have anything to do with Valančiūnas or his play and his fit on the team, because Jonas Valančiūnas and Domantas Sabonis played on the floor at the same time for the Lithuanian national team, and Valančiūnas was running the 4. At times, Sabonis would be out at the 3-point line. I think in this offense, though, Valančiūnas is going to have to play the 4 at times, and at least when him and Sabonis are going to play the double big lineup together, which also means he's going to have to guard 4s, which I don't love the idea of Jonas Valančiūnas guarding 4s on defense. But at the same time, they tried it with Alex Len a couple times, and it was just not it when they put Alex Len in the corner, and he was basically a liability on offense. So maybe it'll be a little different with Jonas, but I think broader... I think Christie kind of outlined it best when we played it at 10:45, which is sometimes we're going to do this. It's not going to be an every night thing, but sometimes necessity is going to dictate us playing Valančiūnas and Sabonis together.
Well, and the other thing is, too, I mean, again, you cannot, and I know Alex Glenn would shoot a 3 here or there, but you cannot pull this off if one of the members of the Beef Brigade or whatever it's called just can't do anything offensively, and that is I think the biggest difference. So this is what happened last night when they went to the 2 big men. For about 6.5 minutes stretch in the fourth quarter, Doug Christie went to Domantas Sabonis and Jonas Valančiūnas as a double big look. Kings outscored the Mavs 21-14 during that stretch. It's not something they'll lean on, but the pairing is viable because of Domantas Sabonis' ability to hit the 3 ball, and obviously Valančiūnas being somebody that can do some things offensively as well. I do wonder this though, and 916-339-1140. I do wonder this. I know it's not as simple as maybe we are about to make it or I'm about to make it as we talk about moving De'Aaron Fox gave you that flexibility, but Zach LaVine does currently make more than De'Aaron Fox, so there probably is a world when you're watching this team, especially as Zach LaVine tries to find his footing, when you're watching this team, how many of you out there are feeling a bit annoyed because the first thing you're thinking is, man, could you imagine this Kings team right now? And no, you didn't go out and get Cam Johnson, but can you imagine this Kings team right now with Jonas Valančiūnas and Jake LaRavia on the squad, and you gave De'Aaron what he wanted, so maybe that would have made him happy. I don't know. You still don't have Mike Brown, but you got through the trade deadline. You have De'Aaron. You add Jonas Valančiūnas. You add Jake LaRavia. Is anybody out there feeling like that, or are we to the point now where it's so much has come out about the story that knowing that De'Aaron basically was done after Mike Brown was done, so that was kind of the Kings saying we're probably all right with moving on from De'Aaron. Has everything been so destroyed that you can't even imagine that world? Because I think that's the reason I can't imagine that, because I can't imagine that world with Doug Christie coaching because De'Aaron didn't want Doug Christie. So I'm okay. There's a part of me that wants to think about that world, but I just know it's not really, it was never going to happen like that.
I don't think De'Aaron didn't want Doug Christie. I think De'Aaron wanted Mike. That didn't mean he didn't want Doug. But
De'Aaron said, if I play for another coach, it will be for another franchise.
Yeah. And he said he told Dave last week, once they let me take the fall for Mike's firing, that's when it was done. It didn't matter who the coach was after that. I guess my point to where you kind of hit on my feelings about it, if I were to play armchair GM for, call it 38 seconds, I would say the way I could envision it, because the scenario you're talking about is, what if they got Jonas Valančiūnas and Jake LaRavia for Kevin Huerter in draft picks?
Yes.
Which would essentially be saying, what if you just flipped De'Aaron Fox for Zach LaVine on this current team? And where I still feel like that's a possibility was once the reports are starting to come out, well, first of all, don't shop De'Aaron Fox in the first place.
Right.
But second of all, when the reports come out, publicly state, we are not trading De'Aaron Fox. And take it to the offseason. Maybe you get 50 cents on the dollar in a trade because it's basically like a free agent signing. But if they had just said from the beginning, we are not trading De'Aaron Fox at the deadline, then I don't think any of this happens. So I guess in that sense, I still seen it as a possibility, but the flip of De'Aaron Fox for Zach LaVine, I don't know how much that, maybe the continuity would have helped, but I don't know if that would have solved all the problems in terms of getting De'Aaron to stay. I do think it would have made them a better team for this year, but I don't think that would have kept De'Aaron around beyond that. But me personally, and each fan has a different opinion on that, I would have just kept De'Aaron for the rest of the season because you still could have gotten Zach LaVine this offseason.
Yeah, it's just something I thought about. And, look, Zach LaVine could go off for 40 tomorrow, and then that would be the last thing on my mind. Ultimately, I think it comes down to the fact that moving on from Mike Brown. It's no slight on Doug Christie, but that's what De'Aaron had said in the summer. So this thing, once it went south, And if we want to place blame, and I did some of that yesterday with how it went south and why it went south, and even Dave, brought it up when he did everything on Friday. Hey, well, if you don't want to get your coach fired, maybe win some games and you're the best player on the team. So, look, it's one of those things where I know some people, and I'm, when I'm listening to the different shows as I'm driving in, I know a lot of people out there are ready to fully move on from De'Aaron, but I don't know if you really are, because I think I've seen a lot of texts come in today about De'Aaron getting 18 free throws when I thought we weren't paying attention to De'Aaron anymore. And that's okay. I'm here to say it's okay to continue to check out someone who was a part of your team for a really long time and did some really great stuff with. That's completely all right. All right. Now once the Kings last night, I think last night, and I know we gotta get to it, but it's funny that Kings fans probably, as you felt great about last night, DeMar DeRozan scoring 42. You know what would have been better? And I know this is going to sound very silly, but Kings fans probably feel so much better, and I'm air quoting, so much better about last night if that's Zach LaVine who drops the 42. There's no doubt in my mind. Why that matters? Because that's who you moved on. You already had DeMar DeRozan. If Zach LaVine dropped the 42 last night, I feel like we're getting a bunch of texts and calls saying, we did it. We did it. Yes. The fact that it was, even if it was Malik, the fact that it was, but definitely Zach LaVine, the fact that it was DeMar DeRozan, and we've kind of seen him do this before, as funny as it sounds, it's not that it wasn't impressive, but I think Kings fans aren't able to victory lap it because you had De'Aaron and DeMar on the same team. If Zach LaVine dropped 42 last night, the phones are ringing off the hook saying, we got our guy. We got our guy. That is what I think people are waiting to see.
Your preconceived notions would have been validated, right? Because the entirety of the De'Aaron Fox trade, I should say, unless the Timberwolves tank and they end up with the number 1 pick in the 2031 draft, other than that scenario, the entirety of the De'Aaron Fox trade hinges on how good Zach LaVine is going to be, right?
Yes.
And so if Zach LaVine comes out and kills it, it feels like it's validation for the people who maybe either wanted to trade Fox or were looking at the trade and saying, why are you guys crushing this deal? They did so great when, they don't even believe they got better coming out of the trade. So I think you are absolutely right about that point. If LaVine had been the one to score 42, would have validated a lot of people's preconceptions about the trade itself.
And maybe that happens tomorrow night. I know it's got to happen at some point, making a lot of money. And I know a lot has happened these last couple games. So you get comfortable in New Orleans. You're going to be there for a couple days and continue to get these W's. Let's continue the conversation on your Sacramento Kings when we return now on Southside Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Emran Pilati, owner of True Sports Cards and Collectible Store here in Rockland, California, and the host of the True Sports Cards Show that airs right here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m., where we discuss the latest trends, hottest products, and deliver exclusive interviews with other industry leaders. And don't forget to visit our shop, True Sports Cards, at 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland and see what we have for all your sports card and memorabilia needs.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is. Live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sacktown Sports 1140.
You know, when it's all on the line, you need a big-time closer, and that's especially true when it comes to your garage door. And that's why I recommend National Garage Door, 638-4554. Whitey Gleason here for National Garage Door. Whether you're looking to repair an existing door or get a brand new one installed, you need National Garage Door. Family-owned and operated. They've been around since 1974 because service is their number one priority. National Garage Door are the region's BSE, it's broken spring experts. Styles, prices, and quality of the new doors will amaze you. Our garage door was starting to sound kind of, and that's not good. So Kevin from National Garage Door came out. He said patching up the old one was an option, but we're getting a new garage door. We're pretty happy about that. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer branded garage doors. They offer sales, service, and installation on all residential and commercial doors and operators. If you have garage door needs, old ones coming apart, or you're looking to improve your curb appeal, let National Garage Door come through for you in the clutch and be your closer. 638-4554, National Garage Door.
Okay, guys, who is done with their Valentine's Day shopping? What are you waiting for? Stop putting off your Valentine's Day shopping and go to Prestigio Jewelers today.
She's right. Prestigio Jewelers has everything you need for Valentine's this year. And you're approved to guaranteed. No credit, bad credit, even bankruptcy? 6 months proof of income guarantees you a credit line of $400 to $10,000. Time is running out. Make this a Valentine's Day she'll never forget. Visit one of our showrooms today or online at prestigiojewelers.com.
Coach Christie here letting you know the Folsom Lake Kia President's Day sales event is here. Save big with special offers on all your favorite Kia models and buy with zero down with approved credit. Join the winning team at Folsom Lake Kia.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
"15 minutes if you missed Monty McNair joining the morning show. We got you coming up at 1 o'clock. Some great stuff there from the guys. And, of course, Monty McNair. And Jason Ross was wearing a vest. I can confirm. If you were listening in the car, he wasn't joking. He was wearing a vest. So that's coming up at 1 o'clock. Kyle, a lot of people are chiming in saying, I don't care about Fox, but 18 free throws is ridiculous. It shows that the NBA hates the Kings. It shows that life just gets better when you're not in a Kings jersey. So I asked you during the break if you could look up what is the most amount of free throws that De'Aaron Fox did take in a Kings jersey, and what is that number?
19.
He took 19 in a game?
Yes.
With the Kings?
Yes, it was this year.
What game was that?
Do you want to try and guess?
No.
All right, fine. It was the game where he scored 49 against Utah.
Oh.
Where he took 30 shots.
So that was the game after the 60 burger.
Yes. The game against Utah, he had 19. He's had 3 games with more than 15 in his career. That game last night against the Washington Wizards, and a game in last season against he had 17 free throws in the play-in tournament game against the Warriors where Malik hit the bank game winner. He had 17 free throws in that game, and those are the only 3 where he's had more than 15. He had 15 3 times, 14 8 times, and so on and so on. But yeah, that was the second most in De'Aaron Fox's career.
Well, does that mean that Kings fans have to stop complaining that he got, because I thought for sure it was going to be the most. So the fact that he has gotten this many free throws, and De'Aaron, we know it's not as if he's, going to the cup. It depends on the day. So I don't know. I feel like that might take away a little bit. Now, if it happens, the argument is it happened, 3 times during his time in 8 years with the Kings, or 7.5 years. If he eclipses 15 or more free throws within the next 2-3 years, then we can bring the argument back.
I also think we need to adjust for Wizards as well, because That's the worst defense in the NBA. So the fact that they're fouling as much as they do is partially indicative of the fact that the San Antonio Spurs were playing the Wizards last
I think
night.
it's a combination of a lot of different things. I do think some of it is the Kings just being kanged. I also think some of this is De'Aaron feeling engaged when he wants to feel engaged. I do think some of this is the Wizards stinking. I think this is a combination, but I know Kings fans want to go with the, hey, this is just the NBA coming down on the Kings again. And Shortcake makes a good point. You could look at it like this. No, because it took almost 8 years to get that 19 with us, and it took De'Aaron 4 games with the Spurs. That's probably the best argument, Shortcake.
Sure. But I also feel like it's because it's an amalgamation. And again, this is just me, a little nuanced Nancy over here, always taking the middle lane, always in the gray area. Just because it's an amalgamation of so many things, I just think we probably shouldn't make a big deal out of it just because there are so many factors at play. But again, that's just me.
No.
Always in the gray area. Nothing is black and white for me. It's always gray area.
No, I need everything to be made a big deal. And
okay, then I'm going to regret doing this because remember that commercial that we just saw during the break a couple segments ago where ESPN was doing their advertisement for Wednesday night basketball.
Yeah.
And right on the screen, it said stars on the move. And who was the picture in the middle? De'Aaron Fox.
Now he's a star now.
San Antonio Spurs.
He's a star now, and he's been overrated, and everyone is happy that he is finally getting his just due.
Stars on the move. And it was, I think they had Anthony Davis in the commercial, but Anthony Davis obviously isn't playing now. I think they did that on purpose because it's like it was Spurs Celtics and Mavericks Warriors, I think was the game. So it was like Jimmy Butler, De'Aaron Fox, and Anthony Davis in their new uniforms. It's like, well, Anthony Davis isn't playing, so De'Aaron Fox in his new uniform.
And they have that, right. And they have that game against the Celtics tomorrow, Spurs Celtics. So, look, I'll probably be watching. You know, I'm going to watch.
Oh, that first game against the Hawks, that game was so much fun. You know what? The Spurs... We talked about League Pass teams earlier. Spurs are affirmatively in the League Pass category right now. I want to soak up some Spurs basketball. I want to see how this is going to work. And hey, you know what? The Spurs are fun.
Yeah.
If this thing goes south for the Sacramento Kings, we've got a natural second team.
Well, no, whoa. No, it ain't like that.
I'm just saying, if the Kings aren't playing meaningful basketball, we got a fun team. We can watch Wemby every night. I mean, our friend Harrison Barnes is playing for the Spurs.
I said I would probably be watching. I did not say who I want to win, okay? Because, look, and it's not me being salty. As a Western Conference team, I need the Boston Celtics to win. That's it. I'm not being salty.
The Spurs are also my personal favorite brand of basketball, which is we're going to score 130 points and give up 130 points.
That's what it is.
Love that.
That's what it is. So, you look at the Sacramento Kings and them trying to put everything together. I think all we're looking for is a breakout performance from Zach LaVine behind the arc. I think that would make everybody feel a lot better. And those that are out here saying, hey, give him time. Hey, there's plenty of time to give him. All right. And it's going to be a different answer for everyone. As far as I'm concerned, there are 2 games against a bad Pelicans team. I'm at a 6.5 right now on my Zach LaVine worry meter. That can go all the way down to a 2. Okay, if he has just one good game against a bad Pelicans team from the 3 ball, and that would still only be a couple games that he's played with them. But dang it, this is the situation we're in. There's just not a lot of time to sit there and let guys get acclimated. You're going to be in New Orleans. You don't have to leave. You can settle in. You can get a couple practice. You can get familiar with one another, and you go out there and you say, hey, we're not going to force Zach, but let's get him feeling right behind the 3-point line.
Plus, after New Orleans, everyone goes their separate ways for the All-Star break. So There's that incentive too. This is the last stop on your road trip before you get basically 6 days off. I mean, they'll probably regroup back before the week starts, but they have 8 full days off in between games after the Pelicans.
Because that's what I don't want to hear. Oh, well, and I understand. Trust me, I am a father. I get it, and I'm not in the NBA. But, he had the kid, and then they moved, and then they got traded. They haven't got to practice. Then it's going to say, okay, well, the Pelicans game happens, and it's, well, then there was All-Star break, so they weren't together. And so you blink, and now we're 10 games in. And again, relatively speaking, that's not a lot. That's not a lot of games. But when you make a move at the deadline, you have to see returns pretty quickly. That's how this thing works. That's how it works. All right. Let's hear from Monty McNair as he tells us how it works as the Kings made some really, really big moves before the trade deadline. He joined the morning show and broke everything down. We play that when we return now on South Sacktown Sports.
Domantas Sabonis plays here.
He finds Sabonis, put the frosting on the cake, put the cherry on the sundae. Sabonis with a two-hand flush, makes it 114-106.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
I started vaping my freshman year of high school, mostly because all my friends had vapes. I wanted to fit in with them and look cool and be a part of everything that they were doing. The hardest part about quitting for me was all my friends still hitting their vapes right next to me. It was really frustrating and confusing when I was trying to quit because in my head, I knew I didn't want to do it anymore, but for some reason, my brain still wanted it.
No quit story is the same. For free support, text Kick Nicotine to 66819 today.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's Business Solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's Business Solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
How about you try something new this year? A resolution to enjoy what you drive. And the only way to guarantee that is at Sacramento Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. And it's not just because they're centrally located right across from Hagan Oaks Golf Course or their huge selection of new and pre-owned vehicles. It's because their general manager, Chuck Dean, and his team, they really take the time to get to know you and your goals. To them, it's not just about a car sale. It's about building generational relationships with someone you can trust. That's why people come from all over, Folsom, Elk Grove, Woodland, Roseville, because Sacramento Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, it's where a handshake still means something.
What sets Ashton & Price apart from other injury law firms? I'll tell you. From beginning to end, all important legal decisions are made directly between our clients and their experienced local attorney. A gate agent flying the plane, the receptionist performing surgery, not a chance. There's simply no substitute for the unique power of the direct attorney-client relationship offered by Ashton & Price. And there's never a fee until we win, and between you and me, we win a lot.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
KHD-1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports 1140. Your flagship station for the Fiend team, Sacktown Sports.
About to get to this Monty McNair interview. Great job from the guys. Christopher Log, Carmichael Dave, Jason Ross. 530, we're talking about the Kings getting on one accord and how after these games in New Orleans, we're going to be up against the All-Star break. I'll be in the building, by the way, for the All-Star break, so hit me up. If the Kings really cared, they'd use the All-Star break to get their work in together, right? First, I don't even know if that's legal. And number two, you hang out with your coworkers when you get a day off?
Number one, I will be partying in the Bay, but not at the All-Star game because I can't get tickets. And two, yes, the Players Association and collective bargaining agreement have rules about practicing during the All-Star break, but you can just show up to the gym.
Right. But even so, look, you care. Everybody cares, but you get some time off. You want to take advantage of it. Got to let the body rest, things like that.
Zach's got to move into a new house.
That's right. Logistics have to do their thing. All right, let's hear from Monty McNair, who joined the morning show. And if you're about to get out of your car or got to turn off your computer, you can check this out on YouTube as well. Here is Monty McNair on the Carmichael Day Show with Jason Ross.
The general manager, the GM, or in England, as they call it, the sporting director of the Sacramento Kings, Princeton's Monty McNair. We're gonna talk about a lot of stuff here, and we do appreciate you coming on. I'm just gonna kind of throw a snowball at you at the beginning. You had the movement on the coach earlier in the year, and then your the first chance the media had at you was about a week ago with the trade deadline stuff. There were a lot of questions about the movement of the coach, the lack of a press conference after. Then, of course, you had the big trade with De'Aaron Fox. As you know, De'Aaron spoke to some of us and said some things that we relayed last week. And I just want to give you the yay or nay opportunity on everything over the last couple of weeks. If there's anything you want to clear up, anything you want to address before we move forward on the trade deadline and everything else.
Well, Dave, first, I would just like to reiterate, a few things I said about, everything that both Mike and De'Aaron have done for this organization over the last, for Mike 2+ years and for De'Aaron longer than that. And, certainly the 2 prior years are 2 of the most successful, in recent vintage for this group. And those 2 guys were, 2 absolute pillars of that. We obviously respect and thank them for that. Obviously for De'Aaron, who's been here since a rookie, a big move, but we wish him nothing but the best. Obviously he'll go down in Sacramento lore as one of the best players to play here. At the same time, I think it's, we're flipping the page to a new iteration, and certainly these last 2 games, getting a couple wins, getting these guys integrated. We're now looking forward, and the goal remains the same. Let's get back to the playoffs and try to make some noise here in the next few years.
Monty, I was thinking about the De'Aaron trade. Look, no offense to any other trade that you guys have to make because they're all important trades. But when you start to go down that road of thinking of trading a guy like De'Aaron Fox, those are the kind of things that can keep you and others in the front office up at night. So what were some of the factors in when you actually landed on the idea of moving on from De'Aaron?
Yeah, I think, I talked a little bit last week on, what it would look like going forward. The chances of keeping him versus what we could get for him. But, I think for us, when we did go to the market, wanting to stay competitive, being able to get somebody of Zach's quality, a multi-time All-Star, somebody who can come in and, add a dynamic presence, especially to our offense with his shooting and athleticism. At the same time, stockpile our assets and our pick package. So getting a player that keeps us, we think very much in the thick of the Western Conference, plus, 2 unprotected picks and a handful of others that we can use to improve the team, some of which we already did. I think that package was enticing to us. And so, obviously we'll see how it ultimately ends up working out, but we're excited for what we've seen so far.
Let's talk about roster construction. We talked about it at Media Day, the worries at power forward and big depth, if you will. And, Jason and I go over the roster, and it's funny for a team that's flirting with 500. We were talking about, gosh, if you had to sit one guy and start another guy, who would it be? It seems it's so difficult. And I look at the team after you obviously addressed your 3-point shooting. You obviously addressed, and thank you for listening to the show, by the way, because we were screaming for Valančiūnas forever. So we appreciate that, and you're welcome. But there still remains, I think, some questions, mainly at the 4. But also, Monty, did we address defense to the point where you're satisfied?
We certainly added size. Jonas is just a massive human being, and that obviously we see that on the offensive side where he's able to just get his way to the basket. Not many can stop him. Defensively, just his size and smarts allow him to just put a big body in front of the basket. I think Jake is somebody who's an underrated defender. He's done a really good job, especially this year. As we tracked him in Memphis, continuing to figure out that end and at 6'8", adds some size and versatility there. But, something we got to continue to do. We certainly have a lot of offensive-minded players. We need our offense to carry us for sure. But we also need our defense to be good enough. We've at times this year, we've been in the top half of the league. We've slipped recently. And so, I think a recipe for success for us is get that defense into the top half and get our offense back into the, striking range of the top 5. That's how our roster is constructed. But, that there's been teams that have been very successful that way. And, I think we saw a little bit with Coach Christie trying the 2 Lithuanians together, adding that size can also help our defense.
As we're talking with Monty McNair, Monty, I just want to let you know Dave didn't wear the vest. I'm wearing a vest, and you're, an
I
homage.
left it in England. I was going to wear it.
Yeah. So you mentioned, you kind of brought it up earlier, and I know you mentioned this at the press conference. I'd be curious your angle on it. I think that you said this is the first time in your tenure here that you've got, I guess how you referred it, like plus picks in the draft, first round picks. What excites you about that? What are some of the things you think that will allow you to do going forward?
Yeah, it's, one thing I think, Jason, is when you have your own picks, those have a little bit of different value to you because obviously you can control them as a franchise. We've seen some teams around the league go back and try to get their picks or be in a different position because their picks are out to other teams. So if we're trading our own picks, that takes on a little different connotation. Having now 2 picks from other teams, I think gives us a little bit more liquidity in that market to trade, upgrade the team, or at the same time, wait for those picks to hit and, potentially, obviously they're further out in the future. But those could be really high value picks. We've seen some teams that have been able to parlay that into keeping their competitive window open as well. So, both those ways that we can use them. And we're excited to have a little bit more, gunpowder dry.
Just one quick follow up on that, Monty. We were trying to dissect your moves, and maybe we're overthinking it, but with the Herder pick almost certainly conveying this year, The Charlotte pick was part of the Fox deal. It's a first-round pick, but it's almost, I mean, we would bet our houses it's going to be 2 second-round picks. Did the Stepien rule work in there at all in your thought process with conveying our first round to free you up, whether it would be at the trade deadline or perhaps later pre-draft to be able to not be encumbered? Was that a part of the thought process at all?
No, not as much. We're pretty good on the Stepien. We do, if our pick conveys or not, I think we'll be able to, either way, we'll have a pick, certainly by 27. So we'll be in pretty good shape there. For us, it was, like really getting unprotected picks and being able to get 2 of those. Obviously the third, kind of higher value first that we got, ended up going in the Zach LaVine trade. But, those unprotected picks are, as you guys know, the top of the draft is really hard to get to. Our hope is that we continue to compete. Obviously, we want to be even further into the playoffs, but that where our pick is in the back half of the draft, and so we need other teams' picks to give us a little more fodder for trade or maybe a shot at picking in the lottery.
Monty, I'm curious your answer to this. Dave and I talk about this a lot. If you guys were to make a draft or make a trade, there's going to be a grade that day, it's so unfair, but it's done. We get it. There's clicks, but we say, look, you got to take some time. You got to give it to evaluate it. Just, you do this for a living. How quickly do you evaluate your own work, your own draft picks, your own trades? What's a fair time, do you think, as someone that does this professionally?
No, good point, Jason. I mean, I think, the word process has been thrown around a lot in recent years, but I do think, our hope is we can grade our process early. At the same time, we go back, we look at past drafts, past free agencies, past trade deadlines, and we look at not just how it turned out, but should we have known something different? Did we predict the market correctly? Did we predict, which players would move? Did we evaluate the pieces in each deal correctly? So we do that as well. Certainly, I think for trades, probably a shorter time horizon than draft picks, which take, multiple years. But we sit down and do that, within months, just to now, once the dust is settled, we do that a lot in our preseason meetings, talk about the trade deadline, draft, and free agency of the past year, and what we can learn from it and how we can get better. And, we've certainly learned a lot, doing those things. I think those help us as we go forward.
GM Monty McNair joining us on the program. Monty, we have the luxury of playing with lineups and trade machines, and you deal with these humans on a daily basis. We also talk often about how, as much as we can look at numbers wise and analytics wise, you guys have, the research and the things you can fall back on are insane. We look at, for example, Keon Ellis, and just about every number we look at, the team is better with him on the floor in games that he started. I want to say they're, 6-3, we said yesterday, something like that. But then when we tried to play the game of, if you start Keon Ellis, who the hell do you sit? That's how we started the conversation. I'm just going to ask you philosophy, because I know philosophically you're not going to sit here and say, well, Keon's better than this guy. But when you are consulting with the coaching staff and you're all sitting around discussing lineups, how much does, salary, ego, will this guy go to the bench and pout? Will he not? Do you guys try to shut all that noise out, or when you make the decision, does that stuff factor in?
Yeah, I think the good thing is, from Vivek to myself, to Doug, we give the only stipulation to win games. I think the good thing is, I do think a lot of us, view this as we kind of have 6 starters. And one thing I'll mention is, if you kind of go through, obviously the starters kind of start each half and end each half often. Although, we saw a little bit last night, some mix and matching towards the end of the halves. The middle part, we do get a lot of mix and match with those groups. So, I do think Keon has certainly earned more and more playing time throughout this year. When we've had injuries, he's stepped in and been that starter. But he's also gotten to 30 minutes coming off the bench and had huge games defending the other team, hitting threes, doing what he does. So, I think we get plenty of lineup lineup iterations that make sense as we go through. And our starting lineup was fantastic last night. So, it's one of those things where really we view it as those 6 guys, they got to play big minutes because they're all really good players. We got 3-4 other guys off the bench that are going to have to come in and do what they've done the last couple of games. But start, finish, for me, the biggest thing is, how many minutes are we getting, and, what are the best lineups we can put on the court, not just at the start, but throughout the entire game. So I think Doug's done a good job of that. The coaching staff continues to look at it. But I do think Keon's kind of earned the minutes of a starter, whether he starts or not.
Monty, you were talking earlier about evaluating your moves. Does Keon feel for you like one of your success stories? Best ones?
I got to give a ton of credit to, our scouting staff, our analytics group, to find Keon. We went after him post draft, and then a ton of credit to our G League system, where he spent the bulk of his first year and a good chunk of his second year developing. And then our coaching staff to, Keon's turned himself into, one of the best 3-point shooters and defenders, the proverbial 3-and-D guys in the league. And, without him, I think we would be in a much tougher spot because he just plugs so many holes for us. He's able to play multiple positions. And like we said, he can start, he can come off the bench. So, big credit to our group there.
Monty, I'm just going to ask the question off the top of my head, something I've wrestled with all year, and I think a lot of fans have too. And it's probably unfair, but whatever, you're smart. Domantas Sabonis should be an all-star if the league didn't have some sort of conspiracy against us, but we can get to that later. DeMar DeRozan's a future Hall of Famer who dropped 42 last night. Keegan Murray, who needs to improve his three-point shooting, but every month he has, and he's a true 3-and-D guy. Zach LaVine is a guy who, for some reason, you put on a Kings jersey and you cut your percentages in half, but I imagine he'll recover. He's a true blue scorer. And even before that, De'Aaron Fox was a badass. And then you have Malik Monk, who was flirting with 6th man of the year every year. And these guys are all playing like 38 minutes a game, so I don't want to use the bench. I find myself looking at this team and going, why are they flirting with 500? Like legitimately, I'm asking you, why have they not been better, in your opinion? Because on paper, in my opinion, they're so much better than their record is.
Well, before I answer that one, I want to go back to the start of your question, where I do not understand how Domantas Sabonis is not an all-star. We've already had an injury replacement. He wasn't named. Not quite sure what else the guy has to do. I'm heartbroken for him. He's made it. He's done his thing. He's been all NBA. He's been an all-star. He's an amazing player. I think everybody in Sacramento and all the Kings fans, respect him. I wish he got more respect around the league. But what he does for us on a night in, night out basis is just amazing. It's almost like he's too consistent and, too good every night. So just wanted to say that. But, yeah, look, I mean, there's no hiding from the fact that, we had higher expectations than we've shown so far coming into the year. Obviously we've felt that. We've made a coaching change. We've made some trades. Ultimately that falls on me, and, we've got to find a way to be better, because our goal is at a minimum the playoffs. And right now our path in right now is through the play-in, and we hope to get top 6. But at the same time, we also got some new faces in here, and those have to integrate mid-season. A couple growing pains early, first couple games. I do think the last couple games we started to see guys settle in some more, so that's another challenge. But I don't hide from the fact that this group being around 500 is just not good enough. That ultimately falls on me. We continue to try to find ways that we get to where we want to get to, which, like I said, is the playoffs, and then making some noise there. So, hopefully a big 30 games, 29 games, whatever we got left here down the stretch to make that right. And, we go on a big run here, and, I think everybody can be happy at the end of the season.
Monty, I know we did talk before the season. There's a bunch of media that got together. We were talking about the West and kind of what would the number be to be where you guys want to be, a top 6 team, so a playoff team as opposed to a play-in. We've seen like OKC sprint out there and get way ahead and kind of push a number way up there, but the rest is still kind of attainable. Has the West played differently than you thought maybe before the season started?
I would say two things, Jason. One is we went into the season. We knew Oklahoma City was likely to be the number one team, and they've proven that. We thought 2 through 11 or 12 was going to be really, really tight, and it really has been. Maybe one team dropped out, one team went in, but that group has been tight. At the same time, it's been a little bit more bunched up, and we've been able to maintain contact. Certainly with our a little bit of improved play here the last month or two. So we're still in the mix there. I don't even know where we are today. I know we're really bunched up in that kind of 7 to 11 range. But yeah, the West is always a bear. We knew that going in, and we don't make excuses for it. We won 46 last year, and obviously that wasn't good enough to even get into the top 8. But we know the West is going to be that, and so we said going into the season, our goal is to win even more than that, because that's probably what it's going to take. So, but again, however we make it to the playoffs, there's been teams that have made really good runs coming from the play-in recently. We would love to be in the top 6 and avoid that, but as long as we're playing basketball into April and hopefully May, we don't care how we get there.
Monty, it seems that when teams play the Kings, they all of a sudden shoot like
make everything.
And I want to go back to defense, because that for me, and I think a lot of people, is still the big worry, a perimeter specifically. And we don't have a rim protector, but Sabonis he gets a lot of flack. He's a better defender than most people think. But when you look at the roster, just the starting 5, Sabonis, let's call him an above average defender. DeRozan, average. Murray, above average. And maybe you disagree with some of this. LaVine, I'm just saying metric wise, they're listed as average, same as Monk. I look at the head coach, Doug Christie. We talked about this yesterday. In 2002, when the Kings led the league in opposing field goal percentage, Doug was the plus defender. He was surrounded by Vlade, Mike Bibby, Chris Webber, and Page, and not necessarily known as Gary Payton and Victor Wembanyama on defense. It is one of the big challenges for you and Doug to try to. Is the ceiling for the defense for this team similar, where they may not be all NBA individual defenders, but you're going to have to crack the code on team defense and let Doug lead the way on teaching him that?
Yeah, for sure. I think we got to find ways. And I do think we've added some defense more to our second unit, more on the bench, as we kind of talked about with Keon and Jake as well. Obviously, Devin Carter's been getting some minutes here and there. Really has a great defensive presence. But, I think Doug and the coaches, they've kind of ratcheted up some of our aggression defensively. We do have good athletes. We have smart guys. We've got to find a way to force turnovers, especially in this league. These offenses, even if you get them down to the last 5 seconds of the shot clock, they get a good shot. And so we got to find a way to take the ball out of their hands before they can do that. And then you got to play to your strengths. Like you said, for Domas, is he going to go block 5 shots a game? Probably not. But he protects the rim by getting back in transition, by going vertical, by not fouling, and then by being the best defensive rebounder in the league. And so teams are limited to 1 shot. So that's how we've protected the rim. And for a team that outside of Domas doesn't have a fantastic kind of rebounder, the rest of the guys have stepped up, and I forget where we are. I think we're 2nd or 3rd in the league in defensive rebounding. So we do some things like that help us. But yeah, we got to find ways. It's not going to be the traditional way. I do think our aggression has helped us. And we got to continue to find ways to make teams uncomfortable, get the ball out of their hands, and then we can go the other way in our strength, which is running in transition and putting pressure on the rim.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe last night, Monty, might even be a case of that, the push and pull of this, where Dave brought up DeRozan. Yeah, I would think we'd all say kind of an average defender. But when you're scoring 42, the game tying hoop in regulation and the go-ahead in overtime, I mean, you're talking a lot about the offense, but that's kind of what I guess you guys are building on right now as far as your best chances to win.
Yeah, and I think the pressure on those guys that they do have to play both ends. And we've seen, DeMar has, had, I think, 2 different games with a game-winning steal at the end of the game. Malik took a charge at the end of last night to steal it. A little risky maybe, but, certainly better than having a heave go in. So those guys got to find ways to make plays. And, we got other guys that, are going to come in off the bench and their job is to guard the Kyries and, big name players so that, those guys do get some rest, but, there's going to be times that those guys got to go and figure out a way to stop those guys. And we are doing it more as a team, and we're hitting more. There's more traps. We're extending the floor. We're using our athleticism and our IQ to just make teams uncomfortable, so they don't know what's coming. Guys in this league are too good. They see the same thing over and over. They'll figure it out. I think Doug and the coaches have done a good job of mixing it up, which I do think plays to our strengths defensively.
We appreciate the time, and I know it's been a rocky road, dude. We love you, but we also need to win ball games, and we're all rowing in the same boat. So thanks for coming on and answering our questions.
Dave, I just want to, I hope everybody, all the fans listening, that we hear that, we see that, we're working. We understand, that this season, has not been up to the expectations that we had either. And, that's my job. We're going to try to keep getting there. We're working. We appreciate all the support, throughout the years here. And we also know that there's big expectations here in Sacramento, and, we aim to meet them.
Great stuff from everyone involved. Carmichael, Dave, Jason Ross, Monty McNair, Chris Verlade. We react. How you feeling about what you just heard from one Monty McNair? On the other side, Allen Stiles Show, Sacktown Sports.
Time to check out Capital Casino, conveniently located at 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento.
Wednesday night, Kings and Pelicans. Game night with Scott Marsh and the high flyer Henry Turner starts at 3:30. Tip off at 5.
The Kings play here on Sacktown Sports.
Sacktown Sports, 1140.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Okay, guys, who is done with their Valentine's Day shopping? What are you waiting for? Stop putting off your Valentine's Day shopping and go to Prestigio Jewelers today.
She's right. Prestigio Jewelers has everything you need for Valentine's this year. And you're approved guaranteed. No credit, bad credit, even bankruptcy? 6 months proof of income guarantees you a credit line of $400 to $10,000. Time is running out. Make this a Valentine's Day she'll never forget. Visit one of our showrooms today or online at prestigiojewelers.com.
Order for Jennifer C. Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double whip, double sleeve? Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, really? That's great.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
I can't have any more? Why not?
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery. Ends President's Day. Exclusively the Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Hi, this is Greg Papa. Disasters hit every day. If your home, business, or building has suffered from any disaster, SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to and letting your focus be on what's most important, your family or your business. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
This 49er Injury Report is brought to you by Jeremy Winter, attorney at law. He cares because he's been there.
After an injury-plagued 2024 season, which ended 6-11 and out of the playoffs, the 49ers will focus on getting healthy in the offseason. Running backs Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason, and Isaac Guerrero all suffered season-ending injuries. Left tackle Trent Williams' ankle kept him out late in the year, and Brock Purdy missed the season finale with a hurt elbow. 49ers hope to enter 2025 with a full roster back intact.
Serious accident. You deserve the law offices of Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237. Jeremy lost his mother in a car accident and knows firsthand the pain caused by tragedy. That is why he became an attorney to fight for others who are going through a tragedy. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, you deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve Jeremy Winter. 877-637-3237.
You know, when it's all on the line, you need a big-time closer, and that's especially true when it comes to your garage door. And that's why I recommend National Garage Door, 638-4554. Whitey Gleason here for National Garage Door. Whether you're looking to repair an existing door or get a brand new one installed, you need National Garage Door. Family-owned and operated. They've been around since 1974 because service is their number one priority. National Garage Door are the region's BSE, it's broken spring experts. Styles, prices, and quality of the new doors will amaze you. Our garage door was starting to sound kind of, and that's not good. So Kevin from National Garage Door came out. He said patching up the old one was an option, but we're getting a new garage door. We're pretty happy about that. National Garage Door sells quality Rainer branded garage doors. They offer sales, service, and installation on all residential and commercial doors and operators. If you have garage door needs, old ones coming apart, or you're looking to improve your curb appeal, let National Garage Door come through for you in the clutch and be your closer. 638-4554, National Garage Door.
Hurry in and save big during Honda's President's Day sales event at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Hurry in and save on our best selection of new Hondas. Each is priced to sell now. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop for great pricing on a giant selection of new CRVs, HRVs, Civics, and Accords with low finance and lease options. Plus, get an instant cash offer for your trade. Get to Folsom Lake Honda or go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Great stuff from Sacramento Kings GM Monty McNair. And hey, I'm always going to ride for my guys. Dave had some tough questions in there. And, you know, they got handled the way they are going to get handled. And great job from Jason as well. As, you know, there's still some question marks when it comes to the defense and things like that. And look, everybody is okay with accepting the fact that this team isn't where it wants to be or would like to be. I did notice that Monty, different to last week when he spoke to everyone, he did say, you know, he got some flack, and I don't know if you saw this or not, but he got some flack about saying my job is to get us to the playoffs. Going on this show this morning, he said something to the effect of my job is to get us to the playoffs at least. It was something to where he kind of altered what he had said for it to not just sound like all I want to do is I'm not trying to build a championship team. That's what people were worried about. I'm here to just build a team that's good enough to convince you idiots that we might actually win and we get that revenue.
Which is hard enough because, it's easy enough because people want to believe that this is good enough to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
They will give every benefit of the doubt down the line, earned or not earned, because you want to believe that the team is going to be good. People were saying this was a 50-plus win team at the start of the season, and they could win every game the rest of the season, and I think they would end up at 55. So it's hard. It's hard to always be staying optimistic when the results don't bear themselves out. And in the case of this team, I mean, they, after 31 games, told you this team is not good enough, and that's why they fired Mike Brown.
Yeah, I think the big thing here is just the makeup of the team, and Dave did ask the question about the defense, and Monty pretty much just said guys need to step up, and it is what it is. The biggest one, and to me, is Zach LaVine, because we know what DeMar can do. We know what Malik Monk can do, as long as I guess two of them are doing their thing, you're always going to have a shot. But again, you're getting into shootouts with teams that are missing. Look, Kyrie is hyper talented, but you're getting into shootouts with teams that you have no business really getting into shootouts with. And that gets highlighted when Zach LaVine isn't balling out of control. Now, what's funny is, Zach LaVine, he's gotten to 22. He was averaging 24. So he hasn't gotten to his season average yet, but he got to 22 a couple times and also got to he had 17 last night. So it's not as if he's, been a complete non-factor, but if you're starting a team, if your starting lineup has Malik Monk, Zach LaVine, and DeMar DeRozan, you dang sure need to be scoring, because that's a rough go defensively. And then you have Sabonis, who, although underrated defensively, is nowhere near a shutdown dude. And we sit here and we go back and forth with how good Keegan Murray is, but that's only one man. So when it turns into, what this team looks like on the defensive end, yeah, they're going to be shootouts all the time. And you can make the argument that the team maybe got worse defensively. I know De'Aaron, the steals don't necessarily, people argue back and forth on how steals correlate to defending, but De'Aaron, he's a guy who is at least a top 10 two-way guard in the league, right? Some people would say two-way player, but he's definitely a top 10 two-way guard when you're getting that dude in De'Aaron. So I think the biggest issue for me right now is looking at Malik. Can you get enough stops with Malik Monk, DeMar DeRozan, and Zach LaVine playing majority of your minutes? That's what worries me the most.
Well, I think there is, looking at the numbers, no question that the defense has taken a step back, because remember, during the winning streak, we talked about the Kings were one of the best two-way teams in the NBA. They had the third best defensive rating during that stretch from when Doug took over the team, and they went, I think it was 9-1 or 10-1. Since the Nuggets game, which you and I were both out at the watch bar, and it was Jokic putting up a historic game. In the 11 games since the 11 games where they were a top 5 defensive rating team in the league, they are 26th in the NBA in defensive rating. Their defensive rating went from 13th in the league as of January 21st to 20th on the season as of February 11th. So there is no question the defense has taken a step back, and not all of that is De'Aaron Fox related. Now, was them being a top 5 defense during those first 10 games of Doug a bit of an anomaly? Absolutely. And it's not shocking for us to say they probably weren't a top 5 defense in the league. But to go from 3rd during those first 10 games of Doug to 26th in the second 11 games of Doug, that's a super dramatic drop off. And you can't attribute all of that to just taking away De'Aaron Fox or the bad vibes in the locker room with the De'Aaron Fox situation.
No, the reality is, getting to Doug, I don't really know what we're going to be able to take from Doug besides he's a really good motivator at the end of the season, because there's been so many highs and lows and X's and O changes that the one thing I do know is that they tend to listen to what Doug is saying. And when it comes to effort, there were more times than not where we saw this team give a solid effort. From the 5-3-0, Zach's defense has actually been pretty solid so far. He's definitely athletic enough to say in front of guys, just comes down to consistent effort. But that's how we feel about all these guys. Zach's got better size than Malik Monk, but Malik Monk is also hyper athletic.
Defense is so hard for me as a basketball fan to evaluate that I feel like I just need more of a sample size to know how good LaVine is, right? Like with DeRozan, we've seen it enough this year to know, yeah, they kind of hide DeRozan, put him on whatever their 5th offensive option is.
Or wake up randomly and say, you know what? Let's put him on Aaron Gordon. You know what? Let's put him on Zion.
That was still insane that they had him guarding Zion to start the game. It wasn't even like they were shorthanded either. They just woke up and decided, we're going to put DeMar DeRozan on Zion, and then reality hit them in the face like 5 minutes into the game when Zion had 9 points and they were down 29-9. But that I can recognize now to be the case. With LaVine, I don't know whether he's doing well or not, or better than he was in Chicago, because I didn't watch enough Chicago
He's got to be
games.
good enough, though. He's just got to be good enough.
But it's not, though. Like, the team defense is 26th in the league over the last 10 games, and I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere in the 20s since Zach LaVine came onto the team. So I don't know exactly how good or bad Zach LaVine is as a defender yet.
But it's got to be good enough. And then on top of that, that's why we continue to harp on what Zach LaVine has done so far offensively. Because dropping 24 a night, we're not as annoyed and making shots. All this stuff matters. You're bricking shots. Other teams are in transition more. So you're caught with your pants down more often defensively. All this stuff is connected. And if the philosophy is still what it has been, and I know, Doug, what he did defensively, but if the philosophy is we're going to run dudes out the gym and score the basketball, that's cool when you're running dudes out the gym scoring the basketball.
Yeah, but does it feel like at times all of these things we're talking about, the Jake LaRavia minutes, Zach LaVine being a better defender potentially than he was in Chicago, does all of that feel like trying to put duct tape on a dam that's about to burst?
But that's what this team is. That's why they're the interim beam team. That's what I've been saying.
I think that's a fair point, but that goes back to the point we had before of Monty. We're just trying to field a team.
Yeah, we're just going to get some dudes that people know.
We're going to get dudes people know, and we're going to try and make the best of it. I mean, this ain't it. If that's the case, this is not going to be it, because we're talking about 2-point wins against Minnesota. We're talking about 1-point win against a shorthanded Mavericks team. We're talking 5-point wins in 1-possession games against the Pelicans.
Yeah. But that's what this team is. This is the look, we're leaving here with something. That's what this team is. And look, if Zach LaVine returns to form, maybe it looks better. I still think you have a turnover problem because you have a point guard problem. That's the other part of this as well.
Which is why I'm still so mad that they just decided to trade De'Aaron Fox without a second thought.
Fair enough. All right. Whitey Gleason, I think he just texted me. Let me make sure he's going to join us. Whitey Gleason is going to be a little late for the crossover, but he will. He still should be able to join us, as we got 15 more minutes with you, and then we hand you over to the Drive Guys. Down South, Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Now to Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Finally, an easy way to find home improvement contractors. Just visit subcontractorsunited.com and simplify your search for home services professionals. From cabinets to windows, roofing to plumbing, Subcontractors United is an easy, simple way to find and hire a home improvement contractor. And you never have to give up personal information. So no harassing phone calls like you get from those other websites. Subcontractorsunited.com is sponsored by D&D Cabinets and Savage Design.
Fall head over boots in love with music this Valentine's Day. Get ready for Sacramento's premier country music festival, Country in the Park, returning May 16th and 17th at Cal Expo with Bailey Zimmerman, Billy Currington, and more. Enjoy food trucks, mechanical bulls, and line dancing. Tickets start at just $52. Visit CITPfest.com. Brought to you by Hyatt Vacation Club. Don't just say, I love you. Show it with music. Buy tickets now.
At Stockton Honda, we know how to honor a great deal. Like right now, during our President's Day sales event, you can find star-spangled savings on some of our best models. Why not stop in today and see for yourself? Save thousands with low APR financing and great lease rates on over 500 new Hondas at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Jackson Hewitt makes Texas feel like a yacht rock song.
Oh, please, give me my biggest tax refund, please. You, me, and a lifetime back
accuracy guarantee.
And now get $100 just to try Jackson Hewitt. Does your tax person do that?
Say goodbye to that no guarantee tax guy.
Ready to sail through tax season? Go to Jackson Hewitt and you'll be
Breathing in the refund.
limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
What if your business could see beyond what is and into what can be? What if you could create more impact in every decision? What if you had a partner as visionary as you are? With Bank of America, you get access to our trusted experts, real-time insights, and digital tools. So whether you run a local shop or a global enterprise, you're backed by business solutions to make every move matter. What would you like the power to do? Find out how at bankofamerica.com/banking for business. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
With 25 award-winning years in Northern California, Ashton & Price is your local injury law firm. Pro attorney tip: if a firm presents as local, but they're in LA, red flag. If your first consultation is not with a lawyer, big red flag. At Ashton & Price, your first consult is with a local attorney, and if serious injury prevents travel, a lawyer will come to you. Still not enough? George Washington's my uncle. At Ashton & Price, no red flags, just red, white, and blue.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Maida Chevy sends you $8,000 off MSRP on new 2025 half-ton Silverado LT and RST after rebates.
Resolve to save now with $8,000 off new Silverados at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See dealer for details. Last on 2011 or newer Chevrolet.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
About to get to the results of our poll for the Lithuanian duo. The Hornets have filed a motion with the league office to dispute the Lakers' failed physical for Mark Williams. This is from Sham Sharania. Charlotte believes Williams is fully healthy, and they were transparent with the Lakers throughout negotiations before it was accepted. I saw Jeff Teague on his podcast talking about the fact that the Lakers should have known, or a lot of people had a feeling that something was up, because you have Mark Williams at 22 years old putting up 15 and 9 or whatever it is. Why? He's got a bigger wingspan than Victor Wembanyama. Why in the world would the Hornets part from that when you're rebuilding? So the Lakers thought they fleeced someone else, and not even. I mean, they were giving up a lot, but a lot of people are saying that the Hornets knew the reason you're giving up someone like that is because there's something that's off. The Hornets are saying, hey, he is completely healthy. So I don't really know how this ends. I mean, does he do a independent physical? Because these physicals, as we know from the Carlos Correa thing, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're a bit subjective in a way. And I don't know if it's different for the NBA and other leagues, but it's someone can say, essentially, you're not good enough or you're not healthy enough for us. And I think that's where that line gets a bit blurry, because Carlos Correa didn't pass the physical and then played for the Twins.
Yeah, because the Twins did pass his physical.
Exactly. So did the Lakers, I guess what I feel like, either there is a level of, is he healthy, quote unquote, enough, or the Lakers on top of that had some type of buyer's remorse. And I don't know if at that point during the physical, you can say, actually give us a pick back. We thought he was healthier.
So did you mentioned yesterday the Dave McMenamin story that was talking about this. And after the show, I went back and read that article, and the details there are so interesting that Luka Doncic asked for Mark Williams by name. And when I saw the trade, my first thought is like, wow, that's a lot. The Lakers wouldn't give up Dalton Connect for Luka.
Right.
Why are they just happy to give up Connect and an unprotected pick for Mark Williams? Why are the Hornets so willing to give up on him? And it seemed like the answer was Luka Doncic told the Lakers he wanted Mark Williams, and the Lakers overpaid just to get Luka Doncic. Or just to,
because that's what ticked off LeBron.
Yeah, and it got Luka Doncic in the door. So would them failing the physical then hurt their relationship with Luka Doncic, or does it save grace where it's like, hey, we tried to get your guy, and he's just too hurt. We just can't in good conscience do it. But then also you've just told Dalton Connect, hey, by the way, we were going to send you to Charlotte. So the whole situation is crazy. And now Charlotte is like probably winning the trade. So they kind of want to push it through. Because what would normally happen if this were the offseason, they would just go back and renegotiate. But you can't do that at the trade deadline.
And the physical thing is always funny to me, how that line or where that line starts and ends when you trade for players that are injured as well. Because Luka couldn't play. A lot of deals got made, and Luka couldn't play. He was coming back from the calf injury. So the whole thing is, I guess, subjective to a certain level, but the Lakers deciding or having some level of buyer's remorse when Mark Williams got out there. And I also read that Dalton Connect has spoken with, as Whitey Gleason joins us.
Hello.
Dalton Connect has spoken with JJ Redick, and something to the effect of he's still trying to get over what happened. So now Dalton Connect is all ticked off at the Lakers trying to move on from him.
You know, the funniest aspect of that whole thing was, I don't know if you saw it, but Charlotte issued a press release after the trade was rescinded. And it read, "We are so excited about the opportunity to reunite with the guy we tried to get rid of."
Wow.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, trying to put a positive spin on it. We're so excited about the chance to reunite with Mark Williams.
After one team aggressively pursued him.
It was funny.
This whole thing is crazy. And it reiterates my point that I had when the trade happened, which is I think everyone's going to feel like a loser when this happens because Luka doesn't really have a financial incentive to stay with the Lakers if he chooses to do the 2-year deal and then sign a super max after. He doesn't have any reason to stay with the Lakers. So the Lakers have to convince him to stay because they might end up with neither Luka or LeBron at the end of 2 years.
Yeah, it was from Jovan Buha, our guy who covers the Lakers for The Athletic. Dalton Connect told JJ Redick prior to yesterday's game that he'll need more time to process everything before returning to play. Now, there is a level here where people understand it, and I see, some other athletes chiming in, protect your mentals. Then there's going to get, where is that point, just like with Zach LaVine and being worried about the threes, at what point will the Lakers say, you're a rookie, enough is enough, get out here, right?
I think they should have said that already.
Right, and that makes sense to me.
Maybe I'm insensitive, but you play sports, you know how it is.
Look,
you have a game.
Exactly, you have a game. We initially wanted you. This is a business. A lot of, and as far as players feeling some type of way and feeling scorned on the scale in the NBA, this is not even part of anyone's conversation.
Right.
You have dudes getting traded that have families that have been out there for a decade.
This is pretty bad, though.
How?
Because you just told him, we don't want you anymore. And now they're lying to your face and saying, no, we love you.
But it's not about wanting. It's about we're trying to make the team better. So should have Anthony Davis can't feel some type of way? Man, the Lakers don't want me. And he ends up getting hurt anyway. But what if Anthony Davis got killed if he said something like that?
I know it's not easy, but that's part of it, I would think.
But at least Anthony Davis doesn't have to go back into the Laker locker room after all of this.
Let's say Kevin, but even still,
I don't think he's the first guy this has ever happened to either.
Right. Even still, you gave him one game. You're JJ Redick, Whitey. Are you going to Rob Pelinka saying, hey, how are we handling this? Because right now, because if I'm not mistaken, I think JJ's been a part of those conversations from when he's in the media. Hey, mental health, all this stuff.
Right.
But then hey, we're trying to win some basketball games here.
Yeah.
I think he got his game.
Mm-hmm.
I think he got his game.
I'm with you, Alan. Maybe that makes us bad people, but
let's see. You. He got his game. They play tomorrow. So do you feel, do you go to him? Do you text him? Are you playing today?
Uh-huh.
This dude's a rookie.
When you miss practice or a game, did you go to therapy? If you did, fine. If not, why didn't you?
He's also still not even on the team because now it's going to arbitration. We still don't know where he's going to end up next week. He might end up playing for the Lakers again and then have to go back to Charlotte because this is all terrible.
Well, how does that end? If Charlotte, quote unquote, wins, what is that? The trade has to go through?
Yeah. Then it happens.
You force the trade through against everyone's will. This is like the Minnesota. I know we only have like a minute and a half, but the Minnesota ownership thing where they ruled in favor of Mark Lowry and Alex Rodriguez. So now it's going to go to a league vote, but the owner who's selling the team is trying to convince the other owners to not approve his own sale.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite of like, normally they're like, please accept.
Right.
And this time the outgoing owner is like, please deny my own sale of the team.
Kyle, real quick, we have a winner for our nickname for Domantas Sabonis and Jonas Valančiūnas.
Well, it's real close. So we took hundreds of requests today on the show. All sorts of puns and names and everything else. We settled on these 4 as the candidates, and we'll ask Whitey here in a sec. We had Beef Brothers, the Baltic Brigade, the Lithuanian Lumber, and Dojo, or House of Dojo, because Dojo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
I go with King Size Crew. That was mine last night.
King size crew.
Because they're king size. Hello, they're the kings, and they're going jumbo. They're king size. Of those, I'd say, I don't know.
Well, the winner.
What was the Lithuanian one?
Lithuanian Lumber.
Yeah, I like that one.
That's the winner.
That's it's a close enough margin. I feel like we have to go to arbitration, but
yeah.
30% for the Lithuanian Lumber, 26% for the Baltic Brigade, 25% for Dojo, and Allen's submission of Beef Brothers, 19%.
I think I'm getting trolled. There's no way Beef Brothers should have been last. All you were talking about beef and meat.
It shouldn't even have been. The meat shouldn't have been in the Final Four.
I agree, but Alan and I each got to submit one, and then we took the 2 that the crowd liked the most. And mine actually won. So shout out to, I can't remember who it was on the text line. Someone on the text line for Lithuanian Lumber.
I think I'm getting trolled a little bit. Whitey, what's coming up on the show?
Today, it's just Jay and I, and we're going to talk to a reporter from the New Orleans Pelicans, and we're going to talk about how strange that night was last night. Big win, but a strange night in Big D.
Yeah, and I know we got to get to it, but you know what I had said is how excited is the Kings fan base if it's Zach LaVine who drops that 42 and not DeMar DeRozan?
I heard you saying that. It was kind of like the Beef Brothers of your comments.
Oh, goodbye. Whitey Gleason.
We have the meat.
Whitey Gleason. No Kyle Draper, but Jay Johnson. Thank you to Kyle. Thank you all the callers, texters, sack chatters. Until tomorrow, secure the bag like the beef.
We have the meat.
Gotta go. Wednesday night, Kings and Pelicans.